Hear ye, hear ye. I did pirate voice last week. I got to do that for this one. Welcome to another edition of Strange New Pod. I'm your fleet captain and host, Julian Brown, alongside the best bridge crew this side of the Seven Kingdoms. Damn it, that's the wrong franchise.
Do it in a British accent.
Sorry, this side of the Seven Kingdoms. Again, that's the wrong franchise. Our very own wizard, Vice Admiral Eric, is here, followed by Lieutenant Commander Hawk, whose last name I just found out I've been pronouncing wrong for the past 2 years.
Don't feel bad.
No one fucking told me.
I said it wrong for about 10 before I realized it was Hawk.
Nobody makes the connection. Nobody.
I have shamed you, sir, and I apologize.
I don't know your real name, so.
There you go. It's Hawk and your giraffe.
Yeah.
It's my real name. Stop it.
Yeah, no, I know. The Ensign Admiral of everything, Erin, graces us with her presence once again, COVID and all, and then continuing the streak of every one of our crew members having something wrong with them during Strange New World. So welcome to that club, Erin. And finally, it's Captain Giraffe. Welcome back and welcome aboard. How's everybody doing? Good. Yeah.
Thursday. It's Thursday. Right?
It's Thirsty Thursday, which also means Strange New Worlds Thursday and Orville Thursday and everything else Thursday. Also, as you can see, we have a very special guest joining us on the view screen tonight. It is Strange New Worlds costume designer Bernadette Croft. Welcome to the pod. Thank you so much for joining us. This is awesome.
Thanks for having me. I'm a fan of the pod, and I'm so happy to be talking to you.
It's so cool that you're a fan of the pod. That always gets me all warm and fuzzy. Like, we love hearing that from people who work on Strange New Worlds. It's really flattering and love it. So thank you.
No, we love it.
We're gonna get right into this one. I'm gonna tell a little story real quick, Bernadette, because there's kind of funny little right time, right place situation how we met, because I was wandering the convention hall at Mission Chicago, and I think you were with some friends or some more of the crew of the show, and you were hanging around that awesome Strange New Worlds exhibit they had with all the costumes and some props, a big model of the Enterprise. It was really awesome. And being the nerd that I am, I immediately noticed you because you were wearing the Command Gold uniform. And I really wanted one. And I was like, damn, I got to ask her, like, where the hell she got it, because, like, I really want one. So I had no idea who you were, and we had masks, so that also made it difficult. I came up to you and asked you, how you were able to procure such a screen-accurate uniform, and that's when you told me that you were the costume designer. And I was just like, I love, like, cool little moments like that. I thought that was awesome.
Yeah, I mean, Chicago was my first Comic-Con, and it was like a whole new experience for me. I took two of my assistant costume designers, Emily Jasper and Heather English, and we were like, why don't we just dress up and like put on the uniform and just see if anyone notices? Because only a few trailers had been out at that point, and we're like, maybe no one will notice. We'll just slink around, pretend to be cosplayers and just, have fun. But we were found out straight away, obviously, and people came up to us and were asking so many questions. But what an event. It was so humbling to see how many people are touched by Star Trek and how important it is. And I just know how respectful I have to be with my work moving forward to make sure everyone's happy,
Yeah. I want to ask you because, like, you're a costume designer. Obviously, this is what you do. It's how you make your living. But, like, this being your first convention, seeing there were so many awesome cosplays at Mission Chicago. Like, what did you think about, like, just seeing all, like, the work that people put into that on that end? And did you have a favorite maybe that you saw?
Mine.
Yeah. Obviously, giraffes.
Obviously, giraffe. Like, she was like number one.
Thank you.
I'm just blown away by the detail people go to and how resourceful people are. I think that's really applaudable. But yeah, I was one of the judges on the cosplay competition, and we actually gave it to Wrath of Khan with the open chest. And yeah,
he was
really
gotta get
good.
that chest
out. Gotta get it out. But I just love cosplay now. Like, it's a beautiful community, and I'm so impressed with what people have brought to the show. Yeah.
It's awesome.
My question, well, actually, it's kind of a two-part question. First of all, now that you say that, have 800 people asked you, like, where did you get this fabric? Where did you do that? How did you do that? Like, because I feel like as a cosplayer, my first, it's like straight to the internet. Where was it? Let's all find this. So
yeah, totally. And it's like people want to be accurate. And I think Star Trek fans, that's a quality that everyone has. They're just so intelligent and accurate with everything that they do, and they want to be exactly right. So we've given a few hints, and if you were at the Chicago cosplay competition, every entrant got some swatches from our show. So the
that's awesome.
uniform swatches. So like you got to find someone who was in that con competition and hit them up.
Oh my
because,
God,
yeah.
Bernadette, I love swatches with like when you have the that first sketch, like the hero sketch, and they put it on the side attached. Ah, that's so cool.
Yeah, so maybe moving forward, like, I don't know, we can give more out, because I know how important it is to fans to get those details accurate.
Yeah, that's super awesome. Were you a fan before you got to the show? Like, were you a Star Trek, like a little into it, a lot into it?
I was more of a fantasy gal growing up. I was really introduced to Star Trek via Gersha Phillips, who was the costume designer on Discovery. I was her assistant designer in season 1 for a few episodes, and after being her assistant, I just learned so much, and I obviously devoured Discovery and started my affair with Star Trek from then.
Oh, that's so exciting. There's nothing better than like when you find a new thing and then you get to binge it, and there is like a lot of content to binge.
Totally, like 50 odd years. It's crazy.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
We're gonna get into the actual episode questions in a little bit, but we have a first comment about the costuming from this episode. Galaxy Star Queen 77 writes, "I'm in love with everything costume-wise, especially Hemmer's outfits."
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was so good. I was one of my favorites of the whole season, and Bruce Horak, who plays Hemmer, is so like, he gets into the character so much, and he was just so pumped in all our fittings, and he gave us so much great energy. So yeah, it was great to see more of Hemmer this episode for sure.
100%.
Yes. You.
There's a second question for Aaron.
Oh, there was. That's right.
Oh, wait, what? No, I asked both my. Oh, wait, are you talking?
Well,
she's tired. She's tired.
She's
It's
tired
okay.
and has COVID. It's okay.
Oh, you know what? I'll ask it.
I got excited about my questions.
Eric, go.
I will go. No, I'll do both. Don't worry. So, how did this gig? You said you were assistant to Gersha Phillips. How did you get to that position in the costume department?
Yeah, so I was Gersha Phillips' assistant in Discovery in season 1, and I circled back in season 3 and co-designed a couple episodes with her. But yeah, Gersha Phillips, she's an incredible designer, and I've learned so much from her, like the importance of texture and streamlining construction techniques, and the attention to detail that she goes to is like extraordinary. So we co-designed the first episode of Strange New Worlds together, and then she kind of like handed over her phaser, like she set it to stunning. She handed it over, and I'm just
I love that.
Love
That's
it.
awesome.
Oh yeah.
No, yeah, I love it.
Oh yeah, we're massive fans of Gersha Phillips. Like every time we do a disco episode, I don't think there isn't one where we haven't been like, the costumes in this episode are amazing. Did you see this? Have you seen the details on this? Massive, like amazingness. Like the bar was like just set way high from disco moving forward, and you've definitely added to that, and it's impressive. Like super impressive.
Yeah, she's a wonderful teacher, and she taught me everything I know. And like, if you're following Gersha, she's just wrapped on this really cool film called The Woman King, starring Viola Davis, and it's about an all-female African military
Do you
unit
see my eyes?
in the century. Yeah, Giraffe, you're gonna freaking go bananas. So like, yeah, watch out for that. It's gonna be incredible. Gersha Phillips, she's awesome.
So obviously the Starfleet uniform from the original series is an iconic look, but in Discovery season 2, we get a disco-esque update to the uniform. And Strange New Worlds, we've seen that look updated once again to more closely resemble that timeless TOS look, but obviously with a more modern, sleek feel to it. This question is like two-parter in that. What was the process to make sure you guys got the look and the feel right for the uniforms? And plus, we absolutely have to talk about the return of the green tunic made famous by Captain Kirk.
I'm dying about that tunic. I just have to say, I think I mentioned it that episode like 6 or 7 different times.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
It's made of real Kermit.
Frog. Yeah, Kermit made an appearance. Yeah, the design process for a new show, it's intense, and Gersha and I kind of came up with, I would say, 30 options for the Starfleet uniform, and it included, what they wore season 2 on Discovery for the Enterprise. It included the cage, TOS, everything in between, and it's kind of up to our showrunners Akiva and Henry to make the choice. And I just love what they chose in the end. I think it's just that perfect combination of TOS and kind of like elevating it to modern times with the silhouette. Yeah.
Just quick follow up on that real quick. Was there any discussion early on that the uniform from Disco season 2, which basically, correct me if I'm wrong, was probably just dyed from those, or were those completely brand new? Like, was there any chance of those being used in Strange New Worlds?
Yeah, potentially. Like, that was one of the options that we offered up, and I think didn't they get auctioned off? We do have some still left.
I think they did. Yeah.
Yeah. So we still have, like, just in case there's a flashback or something, we do keep hero costumes. There's obviously multiples, but we do keep, a hero costume or two. But yeah, it was an option for sure. It was just thought that it was a little too formal and structured for a Strange New Worlds, and they just wanted to kind of lean into that nostalgia of TOS and that kind of casual vibe. So we went with something a little more friendly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, we have to talk about the green tunic real quick. How much fun was that?
It was so good. So that was Akiva's request. He's our showrunner, Akiva Goldsman. And originally, I was like, I think that tunic was made because Kirk ate too much and got a little fat.
It's true. That's 100%
It's true.
a fact.
Absolutely a fact. Yes.
Yeah, I was like, okay, cool. We'll try to make this cardigan, this frog cardigan look cool. So we just used a bit of structure. We used leather. The green's quite vibrant on camera, but it makes Anson's eyes really stand out. And I think it's just like a nice relief to have him in something that's a different color than the usual command gold. Yeah.
Who wore it better, Bernadette, Kirk or Pike?
Oh my
Or
God,
Archer.
Pike.
Archer.
Or Archer. Archer wore it too.
Archer, so good. Oh, I can't decide.
Honestly,
it's Pike. It's Pike.
It's
Pike.
On him, I noticed that. I was like, that looks good on him. Like that.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's his shape or the shape of the garment or all of it, but it looks good on him.
Yeah, and it makes his eyes stand out, and yeah, it was a good idea. Like, I'm really glad that we went through with it in the end.
Yeah, speaking of the uniforms, I have to say that I have a Disco 2 uniform with the insane color. Yes. And I had to wear at the convention for a whole day, and I'm so looking forward to wearing a Strange New World one and not
just a bit of relief.
basically die.
I can tell you from the one I have, it's really comfortable. It's really nice. Yeah.
When we saw the uniforms, the first thing I said was like, oh, thank you.
Yes.
So much. And I'm gonna continue on this. Thank you for your Instagram, because I follow it religiously. The fact that you tag everybody that works with you, and that we can go on their page to look at the dresses I think I spent maybe 2 hours on the website with all the jewelry. I'm not rich enough, unfortunately, but I was like, I want this one. I want this one. I want this one.
It's such a team effort, and it's just like we all bring our creativity, so I want to highlight everyone's involvement for sure. Yeah.
And especially the wedding dress, the T'Pring's wedding dress is so absolutely out of this world, and I keep seeing picture with other people wearing it in the designers page. And let's talk about Vulcan fashion, because from the TNG Vulcan fashion with all the bling, I think Gersha Phillips started with these insane colors and really changing the the wall style of the Vulcan. And I think what you did this season is out of this world. Is that a pun? That counts like a pun? Yeah.
It might be a pun, maybe.
And how was it to be, I'm going to dress Spock and T'Pring for Amok Time, looking at these images from TOS that are already kind of insane by itself, like Arlene Martel dress is kind
Yeah,
of so
totally.
what was your process to come to this style?
Yeah, Vulcans, they're my favorite alien to dress. I think because they're so regal and tailored, and the fabrics are textured, and the silhouette, it's so strong. I wanted to pay tribute to TOS, obviously, to the Spock Amok episode, and particularly to Alain Martel's T'Pring. Her silver dress was so iconic. And so I really wanted to elevate that idea. And we worked with Iris Van Herpen, which is an incredible fashion designer. All of her pieces are like wearable art. So I wanted to use a silver dress. So our Gia Sando wore the silver dress that you see in Spock Amok, and a really elaborate headpiece. Yeah, we just wanted to infuse as much detail as possible. Yeah, we made the headdress in-house. It was just a labor of love for sure for that episode.
And what about the dress she wears in the Syrian Squall, the red one? We see it like such for a second, but it looks absolutely complex and
yeah,
like a sari a little bit.
It was, yeah. So it's I think that we kind of said that that was the date night dress, because it was like after everything had gone down with the Serene Squall, and T'Pring and Spock wanted to make amends, and she kind of came and she was like all dressed up and so beautiful, and those beautiful jewel tones. So yeah, that was a beautiful structured dress that Gia loved. Like, I think that was her favorite piece. Yeah, it just added a little extra something to that scene, I think.
Jeff, I don't know where you put your question about what we were talking about before we went live. Do you want to do that now, or do you want to do that after we talk about the episode?
I'm gonna do that later.
You can do it later? Okay.
Yes.
So then I'm going to read another comment from Twitch, because I like this one too. Joaquin slowly writes, I found the casual outfits for Chapel and the costumes for Dr. Aspen, Captain Angel particularly rad. They were really rad.
Mm.
It's so cool when certain actors are cast in roles, and they give you so much energy and like inspiration. So yeah, Jessie James Keitel was so pumped about this jumpsuit that she was going to wear on the show, and it was really great to push the boundaries in her character. And yeah, that jumpsuit was a real showstopper. And yeah, it's really fun to kind of like think about what people will be wearing in the future. So we're constantly like looking for inspiration to kind of get cool silhouettes and interesting accessories and shoes and belts and things to just kind of elevate a look.
Nice. That's awesome. We have to talk about this week's episode, because just wow, you went all out. It was incredible. The capes, the gowns, the armor of the Elysian Kingdom was just oh yeah. Who just went oof?
That was
Eric?
me. Yeah.
Oh well, very well put oomph. Just so many iconic looks, right? From Dr. Mbega's King Ridley to Una in this almost like Katniss Green Arrow type of look, and then of course Uhura as Queen Neb. I'm getting goosebumps just saying that. Holy moly!
It's in the process. It's getting made. It's absolutely getting made. It started already.
Wait.
How much fun was this episode for you, and what was, if any, was your inspiration here?
Yeah, this was the best episode to design for. Obviously, like we were like kids in a candy shop. We knew about the episode a little bit in advance. We usually only get about 2 weeks prep per episode, but luckily we had a bit more time, and we could really infuse as much detail as possible and kind of treat it like a film, you know. But yeah, it was such a fun episode. We'd come off like a lot of costume heavy episodes with Magellan, and then the Space Pirates, and then the fantasy. So it was very intense time in the costume department, but it's so worth it when you see it on screen. yeah, for me, the story I think is about the love a father has for his daughter. And when I was designing the episode, I wanted to imagine the characters through the eyes of Rukia. I wanted to make them really vibrant and colorful and memorable. So that was my inspiration.
Nice.
If I can add something to this,
Mhm.
first of all, thank you so much for making finally costume that we're gonna be able to cosplay.
Yay!
Yes, thank
Inspiration.
I was talking with a friend and we're saying all the costumes are so gorgeous, but they're so complicated.
They're
So
gonna
far,
be
there's no
hard,
way
yeah.
I can do this in my kitchen. So it's a very cosplayable, and I have to say that my favorite family is from East Africa, and I was absolutely transported by the beaded colors, the African print on the sleeves of Mbenga, the red, the necklaces, all these little hint
Yeah.
to Kenya, to East Africa, to African royalty. I think
Yes.
it's so great to see this in Star Trek. So just it's not a question. It's just
Oh,
a comment.
thanks.
I don't know. Maybe, yeah. What was your inspiration? What did you use to?
Oh, absolutely. Babs Olusimokun is has Nigerian heritage, and we just
Mhm.
wanted to pay tribute to that. So we researched past and present Nigerian kings and royalty. And yeah, you're right. It's like all the beading and the coral and all of that
Mhm.
opulence. We just really wanted to make him shine in that way. So it was a real honor to be able to do that for his character and for Rukia as well, both the young and the adult version.
I love
Mhm.
that.
Mhm.
Yeah. Eric, what were you going to say?
No, like I was saying before we went on air, my daughters loved all of the dresses, and they were like fighting over them, like which one they were gonna get, and I'm like, you're not getting any of those. But the last time they did that was with Frozen, and that's like that's top tier for them, like princess, like amazing dresses, like it was
I
everything.
mean, marketing opportunity for Star Trek. Maybe put out that Halloween costume that's not one of the uniforms for little girls. I mean, maybe that could happen, Eric.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I would get it for them 100%.
Yeah. Yeah. I loved her adult look. I think almost more than
Yes.
than the princess look. It was such a cool
Yeah,
design.
with the rings.
These colors,
Yeah.
the ring colors was incredible. Yeah.
It felt like the character matured just into that costume, which was an amazing like visual cue for that character, like growing.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, we always love to tell a story through costumes, and yeah, it was just so cool. Amanda Rowe was the director, and she really kind of gave us inspiration for Rukia as well. And she did such a great job in bringing the script to life. You know, it was a really special episode for sure.
It really is. It's probably one of the best of the season, if not right now, the best that we've seen. So
It's the best
incredible.
for me.
Yeah. We're gonna get into it a little
fun.
bit. I can't let you go without asking, because we saw it on the Ready Room. If anybody watched the Ready Room today, you also got to make a version of La'an's dress for Christina Chong's own dog.
Uh,
That's so cool.
That dog killed me. It was like licking her chest and
Yes.
stuff. Like, "Can I have a dog?" I'm like, that is. And you know she's a dog person, because you know some people are like, "Oh, I have to go wash my hands. The dog touched
Yeah.
me." Like,
yeah. No,
amazing.
Runa is the sweetest little creature, and thank God she's around. Like, she just brings so much like calmness to the set. Like, she's just such a sweetie, and having the fittings with Runa was a real treat. Everyone loved it. Like, we all kind of went to it. She got measurements done. Like, we did
Oh,
have
I
like
hope you have some
measurement
pictures.
pages.
Can you post some pictures of
I
that?
should. No, totally. Yeah, it was a real career highlight, I would say, because it's not every day that you can kind of like bring these childhood fantasy dream dresses to life. And like Chrissy's dress was like such an amazing costume for us. It was, yeah, like I said in the Ready Room, it was 6 feet across. So like when she was like moving around the hallways, she would just like gather debris, like out like sticks and leaves and stuff. And yeah, it was so cool. And all the costumes, they were all just so special. Rebecca Romaine's costume, the Huntress, Like that was some custom chainmail we got made at a local vendor called the Ring Lord, and there was 1,100.
Lord.
Yes, there was 1,100 little scales that made up her bodice. But she looks so cool, and we actually had to make another one for a stunt performer, but they never ended up using. So Rebecca can use a bow and arrow.
That's amazing.
She doesn't need a stunt.
Amazing and a little intimidating. I like it.
Yeah.
Listen, she played Mystique for all those
Yeah, I
years.
was
We
gonna
know that
say,
she
she
can
didn't
kick
do anything. Are
ass.
you
Like,
Yeah. No,
yeah.
Rebecca's amazing. She's
Yeah.
so cool.
That's awesome. One last question about this episode. I feel like it's almost impossible to choose, but did you have a favorite making any of these from this episode? I know it's like an impossible question.
I really loved Hemmer. I think it's Bruce's enthusiasm that kind of like was just so infectious. And there were so many like detailed components to his costume, and the fabrics and everything just like really sung on camera, you know. I really loved his. I really loved Mbenga's, like the history behind his costume. Spock, I mean, we had this cool pendant that you didn't really see, but like I'll post something about that as well. It's these two dragons. There's so many cool things. I loved obviously La'an and her sequin dress, like 10 yards of sequin fabric. It was like such an epic construction for the team.
Did you guys make the crown Mbenga had, or is that a found?
Yeah, we 3D printed it. It was inspired by something that we found online a Nigerian king was wearing. But even Jess Bush, like she was just like this cool witchy kind of like voodoo gal who was just like
all the rings.
Yeah,
all the rings.
Okay,
Yes.
so her rings, she made her rings. So like she is an artist, right? So she's this beautiful, amazing visual artist. She's done exhibitions. She's a sculptor. She does murals, and her rings had little bumblebees inside, and it was just from an artwork that she's done previously that comments on the importance of bees in the ecosystem. And I've got one right now. I'm wearing it.
Oh,
that's
I've
awesome.
got a ring that Jess Bush made, and apparently she's got about 10 that she might be releasing via her Instagram page pretty soon. And that would be, I think, knowing her, she's going to donate some money to charity as well. But that would be a really special piece for people to like have for themselves. It's something that made by Chapel. Yeah,
I would buy one for my wife, but she would just lose it in a week.
Oh, she'll lose
You
it.
can buy it for me, and I'm not gonna lose
And I won't
it.
tell Jess, right?
I'm not.
It's her
I'm not
birthday in
gonna
like a month, but she'll just lose it in a week.
It's my 40th in like a month and a half,
Okay,
guys.
so you might get a Jess Bush ring from me. I don't know. We'll see.
Julian, you're a good husband. Julian bought his wife Star Trek earrings, the Delta.
I did.
I'm
There's-
wearing them.
Oh yeah, Giraffe's got a pair as
Beautiful.
well.
Oh yeah, there they are.
Oh yeah.
Yep. Oh yeah, yeah. Nice.
Hey.
Hawk, why don't you ask get us close us out here with Bernadette?
Got up the questions here.
I know I put you on the spot. I'm really sorry, but I felt
We're all
like I
doing
needed
great
to.
today, guys. Profesh.
We want to thank you so much for taking some time and joining us tonight. Where can people find you on the social media?
Bern Croft is my Insta handle. BERN.
I just found you on there.
Okay, cool. Yeah. And I'll be posting more stuff. I'll have to do that.
It's on the screen.
And if
too.
you cosplay, follow Bernadette because you have all the ref picture to do everything.
Yeah.
Any other projects coming up, or any non-spoilery tidbits you can tell us about S2's costume work coming up?
Okay. So I think my next thing I'm going to go to is the San Diego Comic-Con, and I'll be speaking on a panel on
We
the
have a
21st
panel
of July.
too.
Yeah. It's with other costume designers from the industry, but we're going to talk about cosplay. It'll be really fun. So I'm really looking forward to that. I've never been to San Diego, so I'm pretty excited.
Oh, Bernadette, we're gonna come meet you in person.
Yes! Are you
I might be there too.
So
I live in Los
Hey.
Angeles and Giraffe in San Diego, so it's easy.
and I'm gonna be on a panel. I'm moderating a panel at the Comic Con too on Saturday.
Yes.
So
Fantastic. Okay, let's meet. Let's do
Drinks.
Yes.
Drinks.
Drinks.
and Nami Melumet is gonna be there too. So it's gonna be a Star Trek party.
Yeah. Love it.
Awesome. Bernadette, thank you so much for coming on. This was an absolute joy. We'd love to have you on again, sometime in season 2, because if this work was epic, it's obviously going to get even more epic, I'm assuming.
You gotta wait.
Season,
Season
we gotta
2,
wait.
I can't
We gotta
even
wait.
tell you.
No,
Yeah, you're gonna die. You're gonna die.
Yeah, can't wait. Bernadette Croft, everyone, thank you so much. It's an absolute pleasure. Awesome. The crowd goes wild, just like that Ahura line. And the crowd goes wild.
And look, we're only this far, guys.
Yeah, well,
It's refill time.
it's time for refill. Refills means that we are going to take a very short break, and when we come back, we are going to review this amazing episode of Strange New Worlds, Elysian Kingdom. We'll be right back after this short break. Welcome back to the show, everybody. We hope that you enjoyed that interview with Bernadette Croft so much. I know that we all just loved it. I could tell that y'all loved it too. The chat was hopping. What an awesome person who is just like crazy, amazingly talented. Like holy shit. We were saying off mic, we could talk to her for another hour.
We took so long because we wanted to just
Really
keep talking
would.
to her.
Yeah, we kept talking to her for a few minutes.
I was like, man.
It was
Sorry,
mostly
podcast, we're done
it
today. We're
was,
just gonna keep
it was
talking
mostly
to
giraffe. Blame giraffe. Guys, this is our review of you called it, Aaron. You said he walked over and shit was gonna hit the fan. Hilo is back, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
Yes,
Hilo
welcome to the
is
sound
back.
of my dog. Someone has just walked by my front door. He is protecting the hell out of me.
Protect. I love it. It is our review of episode 108 of Strange New World, the Elysian Kingdom. This week, our order is going to go Eric, Giraffe, Hawk, and Aaron. And we're going to get right into it. We're going to do things a little bit differently because there was no A, B, or C plot this week. So we're just going to go by act. And I'm not going to lie, I reread the outline. I think I got some of the act stuff a little backwards, but
Son of a
bitch.
It's okay. We still like you.
Julian, get your act together. God.
You know, I had a soundbite on here up until yesterday when I redid the soundboard completely that said, "Get your shit together" from Rick and Morty, and it's gone now. So, I'm just gonna give myself one of these.
Just shut up.
The Twitch chat has missed you, Aaron. I don't know if you saw that. They
Oh
missed
yes,
you.
Wait,
Jay
what?
Crabsap. Hey Aaron,
Aw,
I have
that's
missed
so
hearing you.
I
We've
missed
missed
everybody
hearing
too. Honestly, like
She's
COVID
in my
is
phone all
terrible,
the
but I'm
time.
so excited to be here.
She won't leave me alone.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And I never miss Giraffe. I see her all the time.
Let's get into this one, guys. This is a very different episode that I think people were maybe expecting, right? Because it was funny. There were comedic elements. It was fantasy, but by the end of these 52 minutes plus, like you're crying your eyes out, and I think that's a really good thing. But we're going from act here, so this is a story about family making the right decision, and even if it's the hardest one, we're going to talk about that a lot more. But even still, this was an incredibly fun episode of Star Trek. What do we think about this first act, right? Because Mbenga walks onto the bridge. Pike is a cowering little fool, and he's just like trying to figure out what the hell is happening. Why has the Enterprise been transformed into the Elysian Kingdom? Eric, what did we think?
Well, I'm going to talk about this through the eyes of me and my daughter, Kateri, watching it, because this is probably her favorite episode of Strange New Worlds. But, you know, understandably, it's a fantasy thing. And the idea of Mbenga playing the straight man, just being like, what the fuck is going on? He did it so perfectly. And
Yeah. The hell?
having everyone else so heightened in their characters, and characters that we had heard a little bit about, like throughout the whole season, but
Yeah.
even more so at the beginning of this episode, things that I didn't even notice, because Kateri was like, oh, that guy's gonna betray him because he did it in the book. I was like, how did you remember that?
That's awesome.
Like,
that's fucking awesome, though.
like, yeah, no,
That's so cool.
And like, I never thought about it because you listen to the children's story, you're like, oh, that's sort of cute. He's just reading to his kid, like I do with my.
I'm here for
my
the Star
daughter.
Trek, damn it.
Yeah, I'm here for the Star Trek. And then she's like picking out these things, like, you know, that, and those people didn't meet together, and that's just what the daughter said. But like watching Mbenga just sort of piece together, and all the characters marvel at the computers was such a good change of pace.
The Oracle.
The Oracle. And him going from place to place, like different sections. Do we need a ship for that? Everyone played it to such an amazing degree. Like Anson Mount, his comedic chops were so good, and something you don't see. Like, well, I don't think I've ever seen him in a comedy that I can think of.
I mean, listen, I
Like,
know
Crosswords
Anson Mount
is
from
funny,
Hell on
but,
Wheels.
you know, but-
like,
And I don't know.
Hell on Wheels?
Yeah, he was
Hell
the
on
main
Wheels.
guy.
Yeah. I just watched Doctor Strange, and I would argue that it's a very comedic piece that he has.
by the way, Eric, you just mentioned a movie. Karen, can you come here real quick? I just saw you walk by, so I'm gonna have you come here real quick. Eric mentioned a certain movie called Crossroads.
And I'm talking about the bad one, not the good one.
Yeah,
Star
yeah.
Trek movie ever.
Could you imagine if that was him going back in time, like, stuck in like the 90s and just trying to play through it? That would, oh my God, that would
Wait,
be
what is
amazing.
this movie? And
What are we talking
The
about?
Britney Spears movie.
The Britney Spears. Karen has a special plan about this movie.
Oh,
Yep,
Crossroads.
We need to do
He's-
a Drunk
wait, Anson
Space
Mount's
Nine
in
because
that?
it's a
He's the
triple
love
Star
interest.
Trek movie.
Yeah.
It has Zoe Saldana.
Yep. That's the
it
best
has
friend.
Kim Cattrall, and it has Anson Mount.
Oh, I forgot Kim
I didn't
Cattrall
know
was in
that.
it.
That was
Yes,
Anson Mount.
Kim
You
Cattrall.
guys,
She's the
I'm
mom,
so
right?
His mother.
Yeah.
Um,
Why do I
yeah,
remember
it is
this?
A terrible movie. I saw
love
it
that
many years
movie. I
ago
don't
in
care.
The theater for free, and it was so bad.
I saw it in theaters too.
I'm down.
Why?
I'm down. We talked about it. We're gonna do Crossroads, and then we're gonna do Adopt a Sailor, where Ethan Peck is a sailor that is adopted by
You sent me
adults,
this
and
picture.
he fell out of a plane.
Mhm.
This is the
right.
Drunk Space Night that
Podcast with me, Giraffe, and Karen. The rest of you guys aren't invited.
guys, we're not reviewing that
Just
episode
like
at all.
Crossroads.
I just realized that people are listening to us, and we just like went on a tangent.
That's
and
what they're
blame
here
Eric.
for. That's what they're
I
here
bring
for.
the
Did you guys miss
Britney.
me? I'm here for tangents.
What were we talking about? Mabenga.
Okay, but we're doing that, right? We're doing that.
Yes,
Me,
it's
Karen, and
happening.
Giraffe?
Yes,
Yeah.
it's happening.
Okay.
Wait, what was the question? What we think
Who
about the
cares?
Enterprise transform into the Elysian
Elysian,
Kingdom.
it was amazing.
Okay.
Just opening the turbolift doors, and you see the set. Just like you're like, oh shit, they did a really good. Like the set design was amazing. The set dressers and production design, and then you go throughout the ship, like as he starts exploring the different departments, and you're like, it gets bigger, and it feels like they're actually in a forest, and they're actually in this like medical. I don't even know what we'd call it back in the day.
Apothecary.
Yeah, that's a good one. I'm trying to bring back all the fantasy lore that I have on one section of my brain somewhere. But like,
You play D&D every week. There's no
This
excuse.
is the D&D
sure.
episode.
It's true. It is a D&D. And that's the like one of my favorite things about Star Trek is they always bring these fun like Robin Hood-esque thing, and there's always that one straight man, and my God, Mabenga, amazing. And him slowly trying to figure it out, and him seeing the characters of his stories. You can see him being like, this is getting a little fucked up, isn't it? These are the things from my story that I've been reading my daughter. And oh man, he did an amazing job. I don't want to get into the other stuff because I see the questions ahead.
Yep,
Because I read
fair.
the outline.
Hey!
Hey, so it's the end of our episode. Thank you very much. We will see you next week.
Giraffe, go
Eric
ahead.
just like reviewed everything. So yeah, so at the beginning when like the thing blows up in his face, like
Mhm.
the concoction he's doing on the sick
To
bay.
find the cure, yeah.
Yeah, and then he's like and then he goes on the bridge and everything is like warped and stuff. I'm like, oh, he died. He's like in a coma. He's in a coma and he's
Oh.
like seeing all this, and why? Because the name of the episode is the Elysian Kingdom, and the Elysian fields in mythology is the afterlife for the Greeks, and it's where the heroes and the very exceptional people could live a life of bliss and endless happiness, when us like mortals and like not interesting people would just be like shadows.
Ouch.
Yes.
I would be
So
up there.
I was like,
listening to
Well,
Hans
you're not an-
Zimmer's music, right?
Hell yeah.
you're not a Homeric hero, but I was like, oh, he died. It's the Elysian Kingdom because like he's in a coma and he's gonna be able to like see his daughter and blah blah blah, or like they're all dying, and
Mhm.
so I was kind of like already in the idea that was not real or whatever. But I really like the okay, we spoke about the costume a lot, so I'm not gonna go again on the costume, but the decor were absolutely
Yes.
incredible. The details of the map of the Elysian Kingdom, and it's
And
the
it was
Enterprise.
Right?
Yeah.
The details
liked
on
it
this
so
show are
much.
incredible. Like they did such. Oh my God.
And I looked at the book at the beginning, and I saw that Queen Neve is like this beautiful black woman. I was like, yes, this is gonna be Aurora. I know it. Finally. So I was like waiting for it the whole episode, just like but yeah, the decor, like putting all the leaves everywhere. Everybody that didn't give you some TNG masks where they put all the leaves everywhere in there.
Oh no.
Well, that too, and I just have to say, going back to our interview real quick with Bernadette, like she had mentioned like the cat suit and the jumpsuit that Angel was wearing, and I was just like, That's also taking it back to TNG and like the jumpsuit of the week from that. I just okay. Sorry for another sidetrack, but continue.
I just hope they're gonna release the book because I'm pretty sure it's gonna be a beautiful
God.
book, and
Agreed.
I really
With
like to like
swatches?
buy it.
With swatches.
I love
I would die.
swatches.
Yeah,
Hawk.
Hawk.
Oh, this episode was incredible. It had all the potential of basically going off the rails at any moment, not given how silly it was. And yet it at the end of it gives you like our second big emotional gut punch of the season, I think. Both obviously involve children in that, but all just a big shout out to Mbenga and Babs Olasan Mukan.
Close. That was good enough.
Almost.
He had the weightiest job. I know, like Strange New Worlds loves doing that. Focus on like one character every week, and his was probably like one of the best character studies like of the season so far. In that, because he gets plopped into a children's fantasy. He basically learns he has to play along in order to find out what the heck is going on in that. And then, like, to have that resolution to his, to that storyline of his like building up, like all season and that, like they resolved it this season. I did not see that coming at all. And obviously a big shout out to Anson Mount for playing against type and that, and redefining.
We're gonna get into that. Yeah,
His
that was
hair.
Redefining what the word simpering.
And
I remember when I
by-
used to do my hair like that in the 90s.
Oh,
By
man.
the way, I'm just gonna
was
jump
bad.
in the middle. Sorry, because like the chat is talking about it. I wanted to talk about it. The author of the book is Benny Russell.
Oh, I was gonna read MC's comment. Yeah.
Yeah, which is a beautiful little
Like you
You
said,
know,
I do
like
hope they
ref-
release it. Yeah.
little ref to what's the Far Beyond the Star. That's the name of the
Far
episode.
Beyond the Stars,
Right.
yep.
Far Beyond the Stars, and it's the name of the writer in that Cisco's play Far Beyond Benny Russell. So I think it's like a beautiful little wing that explains too that the queen and the king are black people. I love the little, and the both the writer too of the episode. And I'm blanking on the name of the writer. So go ahead, Erin.
Well, Hawk, were you done?
I think so. Yeah.
Okay.
Also shout out Hammer's back, and I'm so glad. I remember seeing a comment in that about how they didn't put any kind of mechanics into the ears and that.
Yeah.
But this one you could see like they
Yeah.
definitely. Yeah.
Before Aaron goes, I'm just going to read MC's other comment real quick. It also makes it very fitting that the hero is the black man in the cast. Benny didn't give up on writing about heroic black men. DS9. Oh.
Yeah, the King Riley and Queen
Yep.
Nev, right? And
Yep,
it's
both.
Akira Cooper.
Akila Cooper
murdering-
and Anitra
And
Johnson.
Onitra Johnson.
Yeah.
Thank you. Akira Cooper and Onitra Johnson. Sorry.
Aaron, go ahead.
I mean, you guys pretty much covered it, but the things that really stuck out to me, as an LGBT person, a woman, I think that, and honestly, just like living in our current, time, it's once your eyes get open to the things that you don't know are missing in culture, it changes everything. And for me, like, I noticed right away that the story wasn't, because normally these shows show us a story and it's like, Snow White, Cinderella, Star Trek loves to reference stories that we know. And that gives you like a touch point to understand the story and where they're going, which is great. But we all understand what a fairy tale is, right? It doesn't matter who the characters are and what they're doing. We all understand the basic idea. And I noticed right away that the characters were all of, from a country from Africa, right? Like that it's not what you're used to seeing. And I think just doing that and noticing it is a big deal. It's a big deal for women. It's a big deal for people of color. And honestly, I think that's good for us too, like noticing that, like, oh wow, we don't see this a lot. But Star Trek's done that already more than once. Like,
Yeah.
I like that they did the Burnham story in the short
The
Trek.
girl who
Well,
Catch the
who saw
Stars.
stars.
Yeah.
yeah.
And I remember how beautiful that was. Like, they created a whole new fairy tale that I thought was beautiful. And if I had a child, I would definitely show them that because I thought it was so pretty and so beautiful.
Can I go off that?
And-
Because
Yeah, of course.
Christina Chong was a princess, like with a giant ballroom like dress, and that's nothing. You never see that in like Asian fairy tales, or at least
No.
you don't see Asian princesses like that. They're always like a Mulan type warrior. So when my daughter saw that, they're like, oh my God, that's like us. I was like, my God, like that's amazing, Star Trek. Thank you.
Can I go off of you real quick, Eric? I'm like incredibly jealous that your kids are sitting down and watching Strange New Worlds, because I had this whole dream at the beginning of the season that like Friday night was going to be like, we're all going to sit down and it's going to be like, you know, when a lot of us were kids, we're going to have fucking Star Trek night, goddammit. And that just went out the window because these kids are just not handling it
you know
right now.
you know what it is? It's I put it on near their bedtime and they're like, if we watch this, we're gonna stay up a little bit later.
That's actually a good idea.
Hey. And Julian,
That's
you're
some
probably remembering it
education.
wrong anyway.
Probably.
I watched Voyager from when I was 7 till I was 14, and
Yeah.
it's left a really strong memory in my mind. But the way I remember it, I'm watching it the whole time. But I'm pretty sure the way my mom remembers it is probably like, oh,
Scrambling, right? Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
so true.
Kids can't sit
So
still.
true.
Yeah, that was, if you're just listening to this, that was me like flying all over the place.
Yeah.
But I mean, going back to what you said, generally in the past, our depictions of anyone from a culture that's not white is generally like, you know, honestly, like, oh, look at these poor people, look at these savage people, look at these cultures that are weird and strange. And it's like, no, that's not, you know, everybody has a culture and there's something about that culture that's beautiful. There's probably most of it is beautiful. And I like that that's something in media that we're starting to see, but to have Star Trek be like the source, you know, an early part of that change is really beautiful because there's kids growing up and that's what they're seeing, like seeing powerful women. But it's also like, I think our generation, we were starting to see that there was like the one strong girl, but now you don't have to be just the one strong girl. You can be a beautiful, strong princess or a beautiful warrior woman. Like it's not so binary anymore. And you don't have to be the only woman either. And it's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
And I really love that. I think I've gone on a little long, but I love the whole thing. I loved Manga. I thought that he had a casual grace that was just
Casual
perfect
Grace
for
is
this.
a great way to put it.
That's a good band name.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, and he's just, and he never did, because this episode reminds me of that Stargate episode, Stargate Atlantis, because they did the same, like, sort of
Yep.
overlay of their area with just, like, you know, stuff from a kingdom. But it gave me that level of fun, but he never, like, felt like he had to dip into it too hard. Like, he followed that narrative just enough to deal with the shit that was happening, and then he was like, no, this is stupid. Let's not do it." He's
Don't
just
get
like,
me
"Yes, it's a
started. Don't
magical
get me
device.
started
Let
on
me
like
scan
the
you."
5 minutes that he had in Dune, because like he fucking stole the show in that movie too. And he was in it for like
See,
5
there you
minutes
go.
in that
But that's
movie.
my
So,
review.
yeah. One of my absolutely favorite moments from this entire episode, and it starts in Act 1, is this fucking amazing banter between Pike, who is I'm Roth, and he is just this cowering idiot, and of course he's like the conniving, like he's gonna switch sides at the end. We
worm
all know
tongue?
it. Yeah, the worm tongue, exactly. And this banter that he has with Ortega's, and it's just brilliant. Like, you know, when he's about to give him the wine, he's like, "What are you doing? Nothing gets through me if I don't taste it." He's like, "Ugh." I loved both of their transformations so much. What did we think about Ortega's being this, you know, badass warrior, basically the hand of the king, right? Or the head of the Kingsguard. I'm gonna keep going to Game of Thrones.
Amazing.
Oh, you know what? I should have asked Bernadette. Pike had this like
It
hand
was
of
an
the king.
upside
Upside-down comment, yeah.
Oh, so but it looked like
was
the
so
hand
good.
of the
Going to
king
be
too.
on
And I was
her
like,
It did.
Instagram.
It did.
so cool.
And then obviously Pike being turned into a bumbling buffoon.
I
amazing.
died, you guys,
Yeah.
every time he was on the screen.
His like everything he did was like perfect. Like it was over the top, but not too much where you're like, oh, that's too much. It was just at the right perfect amount. And his hand motions, like his
When he ran away, his run killed me.
Thank you. The walls are closing in. I can't take it anymore.
everything he did was so good. And I want to see him in another comedic role. It's like remember when Jason Statham used to do comedies and he was really good at them, and then
Yes.
he became an action star, and you're like, do more comedies, man. And then, you know, Ortega's, who did not expect that? Like, she's a badass beforehand.
Of course,
she
yeah.
she just becomes like 1,000
She
times
gets
more a
spin-off
badass.
show. Because I know her character doesn't, you know, stay on the Enterprise. Like, if they kill her, I'm gonna be pissed.
She gonna be a captain
No.
somewhere, man. She's got to be, right?
Captain.
I
mean,
can see that.
Captain Ortega's, I think, is something that, you know,
Has
it
to
happens later down
Give
the
me
line. It has
books
to
on
be, right?
Ortega's, but like, oh my god,
Yes.
Her
Audiobook.
demeanor was so good, and the way she carried herself and her sword fighting was perfect. And I was just sitting there, like, man, you took one of my favorite characters and you made her like even more, like, I love her even more.
It's funny you mentioned like how her sword fighting was perfect. That always makes me think of Brittany and how Brittany always is like the first to critique Tom Hiddleston on his awful like fight choreography, because apparently he didn't do. And I'm sure that she would have.
It's true, like it's all stage combat, but I recognize the difference between my martial artist part and then there's the Shakespearean sword fighting that I've done as well. And you're just like, you know, you can't really marry the two because you're trying to kill one with one and the other one you're not. Ortega's, but everything she did was so regal. Well, not regal, but I think regal is the right term.
I think regal works.
Yeah, let's go with regal. And man, if she was on Game of Thrones, I wouldn't bat an eye. She was perfect in that role. She would be a good hand of the king.
She would. Yeah.
Keep her
I
head
like
on
the
that.
fact that-
Everything, by the way, they put her in any outfit and she looks like a boss.
Yeah,
That's right.
everything.
I like the fact that her character is usually in fairy tale a man. It's the captain of the guard, right? It's the musketeer. But because I have nothing to do with my life, I posed on every single pages of the book that we could see on the screen. And Adia is a woman in the book
That's
too.
awesome.
So it's
Nice.
not, you know,
didn't know that.
that they put Ortegas in a male character, kinda. The character is a she in the book. So for me it was a little, that's cool, you know, like
And that comes
she's
from a little girl's
badass.
brain.
Yeah.
Like
I-
a
Yeah.
little girl
Yeah.
to her. It's
No,
totally
the
normal.
book is written like this. So the Benny Russell book, Sir
No, but the
Adia
little girl
is
made them a couple.
Yeah, I was gonna
That's
say the
true.
couple's
Yeah.
amazing.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, Rukia is a shipper. I like it.
Aren't we all?
Yeah, she's gonna have a page on AO3 in her
I was gonna
Nebula
say
or
she's an
whatever.
adult now. She can write that fan fiction.
I'm done.
Living alone in a nebula. I'm
Oh,
just saying.
Draft, was that your going, or do you still want to? Sorry, go ahead.
No, I'm.
No, you're good.
Does
Hawk?
Oh yeah, we're gonna
Yeah.
be here until 9:30. So you
We
know,
are,
hey,
it's
I'm
true.
making
This is
myself
gonna be a long one
cozy.
tonight.
I mean,
It's 10:30 right now, so I don't know what you're talking about.
I had to do the math for the difference. I was like, wait, 10:30. What? It is 7:30.
Yeah, Ortega was perfect in that role. I love the change in dynamic between her and Pike, and that, you know, obviously the playing the roles and that, but you know, she's, you know, she just be kind of really bullying him a little bit in that, because she knows like who he is and like what he is and that. Speaking of Game of Thrones and that, how about that great little reference in that when he does the turn and that and puts a knife to yeah, that was totally like he was a little finger.
Yeah, I was about to say that's like the little finger, but yeah. Yep.
So good. That's about it for me. I think everybody's covered
Aaron,
this
before you
pretty
go, I
good.
just have two comments. I want to go on Twitch real quick. Riftwood, who's been working, I know he's like working on some flooring right now, crying apparently too. Been worrying, so I don't know if it's been mentioned, but how cool is it to see the other side of each character's personality? Pike is scared of his future and his crew's life. Una is a badass hunter. Uhura, a queen, so well executed, he says, and absolutely. Queen. And then NYRLite just joined the chat. Hi, folks. I want an Ortega's Sulu sword fight. I thought that immediately the first time I watched
Oh,
Game of Thrones, too.
absolutely. Yeah,
Give it
the
to me.
helmsman. Apparently, it's a requisite in Starfleet that if you're a helmsman, you know how to sword fight.
I like
This is like
this.
something. Yeah, I think Detmer is the next one, and we already see. So
I could
Tilly
see Detmer
sword
do that.
fighting. I want to see Detmer sword fighting. I think it's a requisite now.
I cannot picture Mayweather fighting with a sword.
No.
He did though.
Did he?
He
I don't-
did?
When?
Mayweather. I thought
Mayweather.
I thought he was. Yeah.
Aaron, go
I
ahead.
want to see that. Well.
I
Yeah.
mean, again, you guys said it all. But the things that really stuck out to me for both of those characters, one was Pike's runaway, like like I was dead on my couch, like I just could not. And then Ortega's like sorry guys, my
Breaking
combat just
everything.
fell off. Very important. Can you believe that?
Oh, no. Don't give that
it's
to
okay.
Brad Boimler.
I got this. Yeah, I know, right? I don't trust him. I feel like Ortega's just anything that character does is my favorite thing. Yeah, you know what, you guys, I don't have anything else to add. You really just everything.
Drink.
Drink.
Drink. Let's I do have to say that I'm gonna try and not talk as much as possible because you guys are gonna kill it, and I'm just gonna do the host thing tonight. But to go off what Aaron said, the fucking runaway was just like, and
when he runs away,
And he says
he
thank
runs
you.
away,
he goes, thank you, Saya.
and Mabenga is like, "Oh man," and he's
Come
just
on.
like,
and Hemmer is literally everybody watching, and he just goes, really? Really? I couldn't.
I love that they shot it at a lower
Don't
angle.
remember
Yeah.
really bugs
They
me.
did, Eric. They
Yeah.
totally did. Oh, let's get into Act 2, right? As we head into it, the hunt for the Mercury Stone. Right now, we're not sure what that is. We see Chapel's transformation into the kind of like stereotypical fantastical witch shaman role. La'an, over the top yet absolutely amazing Princess Talia with her dog. Is it Luna?
Runa.
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 Oh, so amazing. And then I said this in the chat. I know this seems like a little thing, but I don't think it is. It's really cool to have Lieutenant Mitchell show up in the past few episodes. The Navigator, just like cool consistency at the helm. Like I really like that. And she got to be like the head of the Crimson Guard, which is just like I thought
I
was
love
really
that
badass.
too. Like,
Yeah,
I'm in love with her, you guys.
She's
Someone
awesome.
Introduce me. That's my new wife.
there you go. More
100%.
transformations. It was awesome. More Ortegas being a badass. More Pike being a cowering fool, a fool, and just more fantastical awesomeness. We also get Una's Ranger type. I said Katniss, Green Arrow. That I love that uniform. What did we think about these characters like Chapel and Una and
Cosplay.
La'an showing up?
Just cosplay, yeah.
Yeah, I think now that we know the story behind the rings, like that adds so much more to that character too.
Yeah.
Like I love Chapel, like, and she's, used here and there, and this one she's used sparingly, but I guess her role was fine. I wanted to see more of her, like always. She is one of the sparing character. I do like that. She was like, what was it? What was the thing that they were scanning for? I can't remember.
Dopamine. Dopamine levels.
What is
right?
it? That dopamine? And I was like,
What is
yeah.
a dopamine?
Every time she said that, I died laughing. It was amazing. La'an's performance as Talia with her dog Runa killed me. It was
Song of Morning.
my daughters are like, that was bad. I was like, yeah,
It
amazing.
went on so long too.
Yeah.
They just looked at her.
Oh my god. Her change was so perfect. Like it was everything, like that fairy tale princess, that doting, oh, come save me princess, which I didn't think that princess was like in the book when they were talking about it at the beginning. So but seeing her portray that was like watching an amazing version of Into the Woods. The Lieutenant Mitchell, like seeing her more often is a blessing. Like I like seeing Asian people on the shows, and it doesn't happen that often. And having a capable one at the helm or at the navigation helm,
Navigation.
and having her be a badass, like you were saying, head of the evil guards was amazing. Crimson Guard. And she got to fight
And
more.
also not
Oh
doing
man.
some bullshit karate or anything. Too. That was
Yeah.
my only worry when they brought her in. I was like, oh no, they're gonna make her the martial arts person.
Yeah, I
They
know. I
didn't.
thought that too, and
Thank you for not doing that.
they didn't do the Mulan thing, which I was fine with.
Yeah.
Ortegas, what more can we say? She just keeps getting better and better throughout the
Love
episode,
her.
and she.
Queen.
Yep.
I think that this season of Strange New Worlds, I have made more Ortega's gifs than any other character gif every episode.
She has a great non-verbal way of delivering jokes.
her visual
expressive.
cues are amazing.
Yeah.
Just perfect.
And that haircut is dope.
Yes.
Yeah.
She was talking
I
about that
should
on her
get- I don't think I
Instagram.
can pull that off, but I like a little side
I don't know.
act.
I think you could.
I think you totally could.
You have the head shape for it too. Do it. Yeah. I don't know what more we can talk about for Pike and Ortegas, because they just kept on being more amazing. Una's Ranger. You're right, Katniss. I didn't think about
Right?
that. I thought Green Arrow first.
It's like
Arrow.
Katniss from the third Hunger Games film, like when she's in like.
Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah.
For me, it was Robin Hood. She was like kind of a
Robin
Robin
Hood,
Hood.
Yeah, which is I
Classic.
think what Katniss is sort of trying to go for.
Yeah.
Her presence was phenomenal. I love what's her name? Oh my god, I can't remember the actress's name. Why am I brain?
Rebecca Romaine.
Rebecca Romaine.
Rebecca Romaine.
And she played that role so well. Like after playing Mystique, like you were saying earlier, you know she can command that presence of that intimidating warrior type.
Yeah.
Yeah. Giraffe.
I'm missing the fact that I think Una needs more like scenes.
Yeah, I agree.
She's like only on like short dialogues here and there, you know. Even for Ghost of Eloia, she was not in the main action kind
Even
of.
though it was about her.
I don't know if
Even
I
though
agree
it
with
was
that.
about her,
Yeah.
like there was a lot of like she was not on the planet. I don't know. I'm not super convinced about what they did with Una. And for example, I love Ortegas, and I think Ortegas was great, but I would have loved Una to have a role as prominent as
Yeah,
Ortegas.
Mhm.
And be more present. She's the number one. She's the number one. We see her never. So I was super like happy about her appearance at Zamira, the super huntress. I wrote it somewhere. I have it somewhere.
I think they're
Zamira.
building her up for
Zaimira.
something because
Yeah.
like she's
Uh,
another character who won't be there forever, right?
yeah, which
She's there as
doesn't
long as
give
Pike
her a
is
lot
there.
of build.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think Thalia was just amazing. So first of all, this episode, and I'm gonna rant about this at the end, but is so perfectly written, and the name they chose for the characters is spot on. So Thalia is the muse of comedy in ancient Greece.
Mm.
So when they call it when they were like Princess Thalia, I was like, well, I hope at least she's kind of funny, because
Yeah.
I know that would have been like a letdown for me. And she arrives and she's like that perfect comedic relief, but at the same time, she's still a great character. She's not
Mhm.
the butt of the joke, you know. She's just like relieving the pressure of the scene. And I think that Chrissy Chong had like such a range of voice, but of acting too.
Mhm.
Because we've seen her so scared, badass, hurting, and I think this episode too is that's why I was still thinking he was in a coma and he was dead, you know, and it was like just seeing the real people that they were, that Pike is very scared inside of him, and is trying to run away, and that Laan has like this actually great like spark and this great humor in her that she cannot show because she had to be a badass since she was a kid. And I loved her character. The fact that she has like these super pretty dresses is something too I can imagine that Lan kind of like secretly dream of, but she could never have her childhood, and she could
It's like all
never
of
have
us.
all this. I'm having my childhood right now. I'm living
Aw.
my best 12-year-old life, man. But I thought it was really beautiful. The casting, the choice of I wonder if they cast like they wrote the story and then they choose who is gonna be Wu, you know, or if they did the opposite. And
Well,
and anyway,
it
it's very
showcased
beautiful written.
each person like in a different light, which from what we've seen so far. So
Yeah.
I wonder if they just did that because of how heavy or not heavy they've been so far. Except for Ortega,
Yeah.
she was just more badass.
Yeah, I wonder if they took the characters right and then they wrote the fairy tale about like Wu inside his lawn. She wants to be a fairy tale princess, you know, and kind of funny. Wu inside his Pike, he's like scared and so on, and like Ortegas and so on. And then they wrote the fairy tale, or they did the opposite. They wrote the fairy tale and then they put the people. I really wonder the writing structure of that episode. Or maybe they did something else. Who am I to decide?
Maybe it's both.
Yeah.
Maybe it's both.
Hawk, real quick. I might have actually lost it. No. Before you guys have to read MC's comment from way back because it's brilliant. Sam Kirk is the jester, and nothing will convince me otherwise.
Damn,
Absolutely.
that's good.
They should.
That's good.
Yeah, because they were going to summon him up, right? They were going to summon up the jester. That could
Yep.
have been Sam Kirk easily.
Some of the quote just never mind. Hold
Hey,
the jester.
sometimes stuff gets
Hawk,
cut.
go ahead.
Yeah, like I said, the standout was probably like Christina Chong and Leon, and that, as you know, again, like she's been such a serious character throughout the series. And you saw little glimpses of humor in her character, and that this was just a way for Christina Chong to just basically like let out a completely different side.
The
That-
tricorder in her eyes.
Yes.
I know. Look. And I know the singing on the show wasn't great, but I think she actually really does have a.
I think she did it on purpose because it's
Oh.
hard to sing
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
bad
It's
at
hard,
that degree.
yeah.
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 Right?
Ask Ethan Peck.
Yeah.
Damn,
I wish
you-
I could sing that bad,
Damn.
honestly.
Oh my god.
Get off my bridge.
I missed
Aw,
something.
classic.
And I did love the little references and the names and that, especially Castor and Pollux and that, to warring brothers. So anyways, that's about all I got to add.
Aaron.
I mean, you know what? Honestly, this whole episode for me was just merchandising ops. The dresses
That
should
Star
all be
Trek is
sold
not
for
gonna
Halloween.
do. You know,
Which
that's a
I-
problem.
Star Trek, again, hire us. We're really good at this.
Yes, we
But
are.
anyway, all I could see were merchandising opportunities. Like, all of these costumes should be available for Halloween. Even the dog costume, like 100%. I loved when you're right, like we were talking about, and she following her eyes with everything with the scanner. I was dying. Like, that is those little nuanced things make everything for me, because it's so wild that you're like, they're on the Enterprise and there's just all this shit everywhere, but it's like, it's clearly the
But it's the
Enterprise.
Oracle. Hmm.
No, but it's like clearly the Enterprise.
Yeah.
Also, it reminds me of Doctor Strange just came out on Disney Plus. So I just rewatched that, and they went to that one of the alternate universes that they spend time in is the one where it's like beautifully green everywhere, like on the side of the buildings, it's like plants and it's super brightly colored, but everyone's wearing monochromatic or whatever. That reminded me of this, because it's like you have the ship which looks a certain way, but there's just green crap growing out of everywhere, and I'm like, oh, I would love that Enterprise. Let me watch that alternate universe show where it's like that. Like, I kind of vibe that.
I have to read this. MC Frotus writes, that burn to Ethan Peck was so savage, Zachary Quinto felt it.
You guys, I was feeling his hair, his long hair,
Oh
and his
my
like
God.
little.
Oh,
attitude.
can
was
we? Are we
vibing
speaking
it.
about Spock right now? Because
No,
like
we're,
you
we're
know, I
not,
have some. No,
we're
not yet.
no,
Okay.
not yet. I'll let you know when we're talking about Spock draft. Don't
We're
you?
not talking
It's
about it
soon.
yet.
No,
Where's the
we're
vibe?
talking about Hemmer because he was the only crew member unaffected
Oh, I forgot
besides
we were talking about
Mbenga.
that. He was great.
Yeah, he was great. What he was the only other character besides Mbenga that wasn't affected by what happened to the rest of the crew because of his amazing Enar telepathic abilities. We also learn through Hemmer that it is a powerful but young entity, basically like a godlike entity that is responsible for the ship being transformed into the Elysian kingdom. What did you think about Hemmer, even though like at first he's getting kind of like dragged
He got
away and
into
wasn't
it.
having
Yeah,
any of it?
he did.
But he gets into it, right? He gets into
He
the
had
spirit
so
of
much
it.
fun.
Yeah.
The
Not
magic
so-
of
Oh,
science.
science! So, what did you guys think about not only him getting the spirit of it, but also what you maybe thought that entity was at the beginning? Go ahead. Eric.
I loved how much he was like, what the fuck is going on? And then he's like, oh, it's a story. And then he kept on going in it, and he's like, you know what? What would a human wizard do?
Yeah.
And he got abracadabra, abracadabra. And he kept on like building more until that last moment when he does the teleporter trick. Like that
Yeah.
magic trick, then he went, You're just like, fuck. Hammer is having the time of his life right now. He doesn't get to have fun in engineering, but this is the time. This is why they need holodecks, which they don't have yet. I loved it. What was it? Futurama, where they no. Was it? Yeah, I think it was Futurama. No. Rick and
is on
Morty.
the- in
Rick
the
and Morty,
chat,
where they had
so-
that where they had that little that one space entity voiced by one of the Flight of the Conchords guys. Do you guys remember
Oh,
this?
the gaseous
Oh,
cloud.
yeah.
Yes.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking about when they're like,
Cloud.
there's a new godlike being outside. I was like, and all I could picture was that voice happening outside with the lights. So that's what I was going through my brain. Not the right guess, obviously, but something like that. But yeah, Hemmer, amazing.
Yeah.
Sure.
I was so happy to see Hammer and to see him in a plot and doing thing. I mean, in Memento Mori with Uhura, it was already great, but there where you can see a little bit like the side of the Andorians that we missed since Enterprise, the
Yes.
sassy
The
kind of like
Shran sass,
crazy, the
yeah.
Shran thing. Like, I'm gonna play that game. I really loved it. I love that his name is Castor and that Spock is Pollux. So they're like the two twins
Face
in
Off?
they're the two twins in mythology in the Argonaut in the Argonaut, so in
Mhm.
the ship of Theseus, which is super interesting because they're both telepath, right? And they're both scientists, and it's the magic of science made me think of Spock in Discovery that goes, I like science, you know. So
Oh my God.
they are a pendant of each other. That is very interesting. And Andorian and Vulcans, you know, from ENT, they all have this face off, these like two very opposite people, but are part of the Federation right now. So I thought it was again very elegant. Like choosing these two characters to be twin brothers, one dark, one light, you know, one good wizard, one bad wizard. And the idea that the scientists are the wizard because Spock is the science officer too, right? And he's another wizard. So I thought it was absolutely, elegant, perfect. And again, like this development of the character because he has no idea why he's here and he's still playing along, which is like incredible. We want more
Hammer.
More. Hawk.
Or Hammer. Yeah, this was great. We don't know why he hasn't been as in the series this season as much as he should be in that, but this was a great way of like kind of bringing him back, especially like especially the first shot you see of him that just basically being dragged down a hall. It's like confused as hell. It's like, what is going on here? And he was great, you know. I'm like that they never really explained why, like, with the Mbenga and that not being affected by everything and that, you know, they just like they showed the
he
accident
gets sprayed in the face.
Yeah, he
by
gets
that
the
chemical.
accident, right? And that, but they never really have to.
I thought it was
delve into
because his daughter was controlling the story.
his daughter was controlling the story, but I guess that little accident
No, it's
was
definitely
like
the
dopamine block, like a dopamine
Yeah.
blocker.
Which, by the way, he did not investigate that very well for something that got contained by the computer for being
Yeah.
toxic. He
Yeah.
was just like, I'm good.
It's good. It's fine.
And you
Go
see-
help people on the bridge.
and Hammer is not affected because he managed to block the entity. And what's interesting is that Spock doesn't manage to block the entity, which tells you that he's not
Not
really
as-
He's not focused.
Yeah.
He's thinking about T'Pring. He's had like some.
We're
stuff
all
going on.
thinking about T'Pring.
That's
I'm
true.
thinking about
He's thinking
T'Pring.
about
You're
those
thinking
sex
about
that
books
little
T'Pring
wedding
was
device
researching in the
that
last
I
episode.
still do not own.
But you
I
think
will
with-
own that one day.
without that little accident, like Mbenga would have been caught up in like his daughter's fairy tale and that along, you know, with everybody else. You know, Hammer would have been the only one left to basically solve this ship's problems.
And it would have been amazing. And he would have done it faster.
And they would have lived there forever in that world.
Yeah.
So good.
Aaron.
I mean, okay, two things. First of all, I kind of like that Spock wasn't super important to this story. Like, I know that a lot of that is you know, based on episodic nature, like we need you more on the story, so you're going to be less important in this story, blah blah blah. But in the actual show of watching it, I like that because it's another role reversal, right? Like he's always central to what's going on, and in this case, he was kind of there, and he did a couple things, and he looked good, and that was it.
Let me interrupt you real quick. This is going exactly what you're talking about. Jessica writes, Spock went YOLO when the entity came knocking. Wizard time.
That's right. And another thing, so this whole episode concerns magic. And I have to tell you, right now, my roommate is not here. He has another house in like the mountains or something because, you know, life's going well.
I know
but
what
he's
she's
not
going to
here.
say. That's why I'm not happy.
Yeah. You know, Giraffe, but it's because I have COVID, which I have just sort of recovered from. But my friend is a member of the Magic Castle, which
So
is
cool.
in Los Angeles,
So
like a
cool.
big thing. Like all of the famous magicians in the world go there, and seeing just like this presentation of magic and the way they talked about it, the first thing I thought about was my friend and then all of his friends who he's very graciously introduced to me. I don't know if you can see, but behind me, the first row is like all my nerd stuff, and then this row is all magic stuff. I don't know if you can tell
Ah.
this, because
That's
he goes
cool,
to
though.
the Magic Castle all the time, and he
Oh, that's
is
amazing.
a member, and he has been on the board. And I just think that it's like it was such a cool representation of magic. And I think sometimes magic in media can be presented as like dorky and not cool and like nerdy. And I have to tell you, these are the classiest people in the world, and they provide this incredible experience for everyone, and they don't discriminate. If you go there, they treat everyone like magic. And so I just think that all of those people are really going to enjoy this and the way that it was presented. And even when they're like, you know, it's science, because they don't disagree. We all know like magic is a performance, right? But I thought that was really cool, and that touched something special inside of me. So
It's like what Thor said. Your ancestors called it magic, but we called it science, right?
Yeah.
It's like that
Yeah.
that mixture.
well, science is magic to people who aren't, you know, properly educated.
Mhm.
So
That's awesome. I love that. Finally, Giraffe.
Yes.
Queen Nev, Wizard Spock, discovering that Rukia is the Mercury Stone. I mean, what else do you need? We'll reverse order because I know Giraffe's gonna want to go first on this one. Then Eric will go. Hit it. Just hit it. You gonna say the thing? Hit it. Why aren't you
There's
hitting
so
it? Hit it.
many people right now writing entire pages in AO3 about how subby was Spock to Uhura in that episode. Yes, my queen. Yes, my liege. Yes, my immediately my liege. I was like,
we
more.
gotta get that podcast off the ground.
So when he appears first, like, and he's like these long hair and stuff, I was like, Discovery
Mhm.
season 2 Spock, emo Spock. We started the season of Stranger World explaining you that the more hair Spock has, the more you know something crazy is going to happen. So when he arrives, like his Kawat Milat freaking hair, I was losing my mind. I was like, yes.
All he was
You
missing was the
It's like
hood.
his zodiac sign. You can determine how he's doing based on the level of
Yes.
hair.
Bearded Spock, you know, you know,
going
you
down.
know. And then he's like the footman of Queen Nev, and I was like, oh my god. Some
I mean,
people
who
lost their
doesn't love a
mind.
queen
you
that
know?
has like attractive men serving her? I love that.
Yeah.
I mean, absolutely. Like every time he's like, yes, my liege. I was like, pause, rewind, replay. It was
Oh my God,
incredible.
Julian, we need
Absolutely
you to make that
incredible.
a soundbite.
Which part? Which one?
Where Spock says, "Yes, my liege."
Okay, I can do that. That's easy. Eric, go ahead.
Yeah.
Um,
Can I just add something?
well, yeah, I'm sorry,
oh,
Jeff, I
wait,
thought you
was
were
like,
done.
she was
How
Sorry, I thought you were at the
dare
my bad.
you?
I'm so
How
good.
I'm
dare
really
you, our
sorry.
queen?
I'm just like
Bow
absolutely
before her.
Sure, Uhura as a bad, you know, as a baddie, as a villain,
my God, yes.
was kind of like it's very exciting. But two, you're like, oh, she can be mean.
Oh,
She
yeah.
can be she can be dangerous if she wants to. And I thought it was a beautiful role because so far she's been the cadet, she's been the lost one, she's been the nice one, she's been the outsider too. And seeing her just like bossing around the Crimson Guard, having like Spock basically like rolling around on his back, and it was absolutely incredible. And like her, yeah.
No, go ahead.
And her facing Mabenga and like having like this both like this queen and this king, I think it's gorgeous because when at the end, you know, it's all from Rukia's head, and you're like, that's the people she shows to represent the queen and the queen and the king. And so the king, he's her dad, right? Logical. But I love the fact that Uhura is the queen, and it matches the book too. And coming back to Benny Russell and all this, I think it's again elegant, very elegant writing, spot on way to like warp the characters and open their range and open like who they are. So absolutely incredible. I'm making that dress. Everything is so gorgeous. I
Yes.
can't. I need somebody to cosplay Spock with me. DM me on Instagram, okay?
I want to do Ortegas. So maybe that's our next TrekCon. You know,
Yeah.
2023.
Do
San
it.
Diego Comic Con, people.
What
The
are
other
you that
month.
done in time for Comic-Con?
You can cut your hair. Do it.
Yeah, you can cut your
I
hair.
know I can
What are
do
you
that,
talking
but
about?
goddamn,
Cut and dye.
Eric,
Bernadette, we need you.
Eric, you can kind of go off on this a little bit. This is the one thing I want to say about this is I found it really awesome and cool in this episode that it was very easy to tell the actors on the show who've had like proper theater training and done some Shakespeare next to
Oh
the
my
ones
God,
who
yes.
hadn't. It was just so fucking awesome. Like fucking
Chrissy.
Celia Rosgood, Christine, obviously Ethan Peck. Like it was just so cool.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Eric.
Like some of my favorite things that I've ever done is all the Shakespearean training that I've done. And when you see Uhura just fucking pull everything out of every playbook an actor will use for a Shakespearean play in those moments, it's a joy to watch. It's like a masterclass in watching her. And I cannot wait till we see that eventual Mirror episode.
Oh my God.
Where she plays the badass.
That's all I can think about, you guys. After this,
like,
I need it.
I need Evil
Uhura
oh my
to
God.
be the queen.
She commanded the scene as soon as she like just showed up. Like, she didn't even say anything when you first saw her, and you're just like, fuck, she's in control of everything here, and she's just running the. I can't imagine what it would have been like on set that day, because like the energy off of her was infectious. Just watching her, I get goosebumps just thinking about her.
I want to see them appearing in Cargo Bay 12. I think they go and freaking out, losing their mind as if transported somewhere else. I hope they shot that and they will give it to us.
It's like a deleted scene, right?
Yeah.
I would love that, because imagine her like absolutely having an epic meltdown and Spock trying like to explain what happened.
You know what happened? She turned around and like just backhanded Pike right then. As soon as it happened.
Well, that's what, if you're the queen, everything was on purpose. So you transported them there. So yes, I would love to see the continuation of that. Like, just like, I brought you all here. You were wasting my time. We were I don't know, something good.
Oh, short tracks, make it happen.
Short tracks.
Yeah.
Can we bring them back, please? I feel like we're getting...
Once COVID calms down, I guess up here.
Yeah, you're right. Everyone's getting COVID right now.
Yeah. Wizard Spock was amazing. Like Jeff was saying, the whole playing off the dark and light versus Hemmer was such a brilliant way to do it, production wise and script wise. I like grungy Ethan Peck. Like who doesn't? He looks amazing as a dark.
Was the best.
I want to see him as a dark wizard now. Like, maybe just get them to play. Disco does D&D. I'm pretty sure Strange New Worlds could do D&D as well, and I want to see an evil wizard by Ethan Peck. Rukia as the Stone was obviously it's the most important part of the kingdom, or at least there's that special thing, and of course it's his daughter. Like, what?
Of course, yeah.
What parent wouldn't think that about their child? Like, that's a beautiful thing, and everything father-daughter that happened in this episode just like warmed my heart and made me sad and happy all at the same time. And finding that out was a great piece of writing and acting from Mavenga.
Yeah.
How do you guys who have kids? I think it's just Julie.
We cry all the time.
And Eric.
Yeah. Well, and you both have daughters, because I think the part of the episode that was the most meaningful, because it was super fun, was when she, he agrees and lets her.
We're gonna get to that.
Oh, wait, we're just jumping to like the last act. What is
happening?
There's an outline, woman.
We're not there yet.
There's an outline.
We're getting there. Promise.
Okay.
You'll see us cry in a couple minutes. Just wait.
See?
Calm down.
I get yelled at because I don't read the outline, but
You're not wrong. I'm gonna be honest. I did not read the outline.
Of course you
See?
did.
No one did.
No one does. Hawk, go
I
ahead.
did. I even
I read
added
it as
questions.
I go, but I will do better.
I don't know what more to add in that. Her was great. The costume design was probably like the highlight of Bernadette's work for this episode. And that,
Yes.
especially like the way the camera kind of starts on her nails and that. Those the great.
Kateri asked me if she could have those nails. I was like, no.
No, you can't. Those nails are very dangerous.
So you say no, and Cecily would ask me, and I'd be like, yeah, you can have those, sure.
I know she would scratch me with them just for fun.
Giraffe.
That's true.
Oh my
We
God.
love nails.
Yeah. Oh my God.
But then the reveal of it and that, especially like the design, the wing. I mean, because I'm assuming like the whole thing was basically based around the concept of an ice queen and that,
Yes.
her playing.
Oh,
that,
yeah.
and like just the outline, the way the kind of wings just look like formations of icicles was fantastic.
Yeah.
And she obviously loved playing this.
Now I want to hear Uhura sing "Let It Go."
Yeah, I would. Yeah.
Shut no.
She has an amazing voice. I want to hear her
don't
sing
need that
anything.
I know. I don't like the song.
I like
come
the
up
song.
with her
Into the
own
unknown.
song.
Haven wrote the outline doesn't actually exist. It is a Section 31 plot, Aaron. Which is
It's
is
true. It's
Speaking
true.
of Aaron,
There's
your
no
your
outline.
thoughts
Makes
on
sense.
Queen Nev, Wizard Spock, Rukia being the stone.
I mean, I thought that the daughter Rukia, I think that every time we've seen her, she's been brilliant. And I can't imagine how difficult it is to find child actors for many, many reasons, but she was beautiful and brilliant, and everything we said before, like I loved her outfit. I thought that it was different in the best way possible. Like it still was exactly like it looks like a little princess outfit, but it has this cultural aspect that I think has been missing for a lot of kids for a long time, and I think that's beautiful. And then we get to see her as an adult, which you guys already said. You guys have said it all. Damn it. But I thought
It
was
sucks to go
beautiful as
last.
well. No, it's fine because then if anything was missed, I can jump in there.
That's true.
But we're so good a crew that things don't get missed. All I wrote down is that Rukia, the daughter, is the stone, and for me, I was surprised that they wrapped this up the way they did early on. But I kind of like that because they are changing the expectation, and for a show that is doing an episodic thing, which we're all basically just trying to go back to the thing that we love about Star Trek, right? Which is great,
great
but
point.
they're doing it in a way that we can't fully anticipate what's happening. And it's not what I would have expected. I didn't expect her to go with the entity and all of those things. I know we're not talking about it yet, apparently, but I think that the direction they went is interesting. I think it does leave a door open, but it also frees Mbenga to like have more character development, and also would watch the spin-off show that was just about him because I kind of love him. So.
I think what you said was absolutely beautiful, and I think it is absolutely that time to get into the deep part of the episode because
Finally,
it is in act 2 and act 3 we figure out that Rukia is not in the buffer, right? And this is her version of this story that she's creating, and that she is the Mercury Stone. We get the final showdown, right? Pike's betrayal, Hemmer, and the power of science prevails, abracadabra, fucking amazing. But like I said at the top of the show, this is a very fun episode, but at the end it's probably one of the deepest episodes of Star Trek ever. I would say it's pretty fucking deep. Maybe it's more deep if you have children. I don't know. You can correct me if I'm wrong.
I could agree with that.
It's
Yeah.
equally as deep if you don't have children.
And emotional, like I said, especially as a parent. And Benga knows. We hear his personal log at the beginning of the episode that Ruki is almost out of time. She's not gonna make it much longer, even if she is in the buffer. And we know as the watchers of the show and as this arc continues, they're not gonna find a cure. That's not how this goes. When the entity tells Mbenga that through Hemmer, by the way, who does get to use his Enar telepathic abilities, that they could end Rukia's suffering and that she would be happy and never know death, he has to make what is ultimately the best decision for Rukia, right? But also the hardest choice for his daughter. And it's not only his. This episode is great, and not only yes, Mbenga ultimately lets her go, but it's really Rukia who makes the choice. She gets freed of her pain, letting her go. What do we think of Rukia's choice? And yeah, I think at the end of the day, Mbenga making the best possible call for his daughter here, Eric.
well, before you guys jump into it, like, can I ask you that question that I was gonna ask? Well, and let me add like a little bit of a layer to this, because my brother, who's a year older than me, when he was 8 years old and I was 7, was diagnosed with an inoperable brain cancer. And he's had it his whole life. He is like a success story of someone who survived. Like this is how serious it was. They gave him a Make-A-Wish. We went to Disneyland when I was like 8 years old, because they only give you that when they think you're gonna die.
Yeah.
It's like your life's about to be over, so let's have like this really incredible experience. And it was. But he lives with disabilities and things like that, and is at a certain level, all of that anyway. But I'm curious for that's my perspective looking at it, but I'm curious about you guys who have a daughter, and because that's my brother, but that's your daughter and your child, and that's the place that he was put in with very little information, very little time. Like, what would you guys do, I guess?
Well, let me take some water.
We went
Because
way.
I was so dehydrated from like crying, or at least like tearing up
Cried
when I
so
saw
much?
this, saw the ending, right? Because there's something special about having kids and having a daughter, and like I watched this episode with my eldest, and there were times it was hard. Like I would hold her tighter. There's a moment when Mbenga's panicking because his daughter is not in the buffer and he's trying to find her, and every parent knows that feeling where your kid just sort of runs off and you're like, oh fuck, where are they? And you like it's funny, but it's like at the time when you're going through it, it's the worst feeling in the world. Like I went to a birthday party with my kids at the park the other day, and Liara, just like my middle child, will just fucking run off because she's the adventurous one that's going to get into hospital because she's going to break a bone one day really soon. And like she went to a different playground and I was fucking freaking out. Like
AKA the middle child.
the middle
right?
child as well. But like you sit there and you get angry, but you like, there's so much love there that you have to sort of accept that they're going through all these things. And like going off the term, the sickness thing, like Megan's family has gone through a lot of like cancers and stuff. So we know family members that have passed away and stuff. And watching someone go through that is heartbreaking. And there's this helplessness that you can't really do. Like Mbenga, like at least tried, but like as a parent who isn't a scientist or anything, you just sit there and you just like, well, fuck, I can't do anything. Or it's like, as a cousin, you're like, I wish I could help. Oh my God, why am I crying?
I'm crying and I haven't even talked yet. So
but
I'm with you, man.
like we get to the end and he gets to see his daughter, and he first sees her and the first thing she says is, did you have fun? And you're like, fucking hell. Like she did this all for him. Like this giant story that she wanted him to experience something that like they had been reading together. And I can just think about my kids when they come down. They're like, "Are you having fun today, Papa?" And I'm like, "Yeah. You know what? Are you happy?" I was like, "I am now that you guys are here, right? Even if you have a shitty day, like just seeing them, like their concern is for you, and you're like, how's this? How are you part of me?" Like,
That's how pure they are,
right?
Like, they're having the best time, and all they can think of is, "Are you having fun too?"
Yeah, exactly. And when he is posited that question, like he can keep her there, but she's gonna pass, or she can go away and he's gonna miss her, like he's gonna have her out of her life. Like that's, man, I don't know what I like. You know what you have to do, but I can't imagine having to let my daughter go, or any of my daughters. Like I'm thinking about ever so often, I'm like, Katiri's 8. I have 10 years left with her before she goes off to university, and it's something I always think about. I'm like, fuck, I have to spend as much time as I can with her, because one day I'm gonna just have to let her go. She's like, she has to tell her own story, like Rukia says, like you go tell your story now, like you get just it's just not up me all the time, like that. Oh my God.
But that's the
One of
happily
my
ever
friend-
after, is that they get to tell the story. I think that's the one thing that I'm okay with it sort of bypassing the sadness that there is, with these type of illnesses, there is generally like death, and people die and children die, and it's awful, but they don't always die. Like my brother hasn't died. Like he's not living the fullest experience that he could live. No, he's not. But is he living an existence that he's happy with and
Yeah.
that makes him happy? Yeah, he is. And it is because of science. Like, because it wasn't perfect, but it was something that allowed him to continue living his life. And I kind of see that. I don't think that's what they were going for, but I see the parallel of that.
Yeah.
And like you can see that your daughter is going to go and live these amazing experiences, and I can see that my brother has continued to have experiences.
Yeah.
And I think that that's really beautiful.
There's a moment when Rukia actually goes in the mist and she's like, "Oh, tickles," I think is what she says, or something like that. And then she disappears, and you can see this sense of loss for Mabenga, but you know, there's hope there too, because he knows that she's gonna exist more, like she's gonna be a traveler or whatever. And
that's
then
what I thought too.
that's what I thought originally. And then she comes back as an adult and finds out that she had lived this life. Like, it may have been seconds for him, but it was years for her, and that she was happy, and that she had gone on adventures that she had always wanted to, like being a sick kid and just being in that transporter room for such a long time. To hear that she can go out and actually live a life that she wanted to, like, oh man, as a parent, like knowing that your kid is happy and living the life they want, like that's just everything, right?
Yeah, I'm like I'm in a really like emotional place right now with my kids, and a lot of that has to do with what's happened over the past few weeks, and I don't want to take it like really dark, but I've been giving my kids a lot more hugs and kisses, and I hold them tight. I'm sorry. Just because of all the fucking scary shit happening right now. And this episode's tough too, because I get in my head a lot, and I'm kind of like one of those worst case scenario guys sometimes, and I think about this shit and like, Jesus fucking Christ, like like, God forbid I was ever in a position where it's like I had to make a decision to like end my kid's suffering, or like you know, decide to like keep on with treatment that fucking makes them, you know, like in a worse position. It's like, you know, I could be pretty fucking selfish sometimes, but like it's like I would never, like Aaron asked the question, like, what would I do? It's like I would never, like, Eric, I mean, you know this too, like I would never ever want to see my kids suffer more than they have to. And yeah, it's and having a daughter, like, it's just like anytime she's in pain, anytime something happens
it's the worst.
to her, it's just like it's the worst. And like, listen, she's fucking strong. Like, she's like the most strong-willed person I know at almost 7 years old, and it's just it's a lot. It's a lot, like with this episode, and having to let go, and you know, not to take it back to something we talked about a couple weeks ago, but just like fucking 19 families who like had that decision even fucking taken away from them. You know, it's just it's just like, it's so fucked up, and it's just I don't want to get too deep and dark about it, but
Oh no, it's nice that you guys are like feeling connected to it.
Listen, like, given the choice, of course, like I would never want my kids, either one of them, Caleb or Cecily, to suffer, and I think like this episode is so important to portray that and say that is an okay decision, because, you know, some people, you know, can't make that decision, and it's really difficult. So
Yeah.
I'll leave it at that. I never ever want to see my kids suffer. So
Well,
Sure.
thank you guys for being so candid about that. I'm going to take it back from the sad place real quick and remind us all that at least in this episode, we don't have a child who's hooked up to a device that's powering a whole planet. So let's keep moving
Thank you.
forward.
Yes.
Thank you for coming to our group therapy. And now we're going to go back to Star
Right.
Trek, because as I don't have a kid, apparently I don't care if kids die. I don't know. Guys, like, what is this? Oh, you guys who have kids, you've seen the episode different. Oh, no.
Take
I
that,
want the kids
virtual
to
child.
No,
die.
hey, you texted me like early on that you were ugly crying, so I know.
Yeah,
I
it's sad
did
for
cry. I was-
everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't have to be a parent to like feel the sadness of that episode. I mean, like, I'm a parent to too many childs. More
You
parents.
have
than
them
parents.
longer than us.
Children of the next generation. In
Because I
another
end up
language.
I end up parenting them, and it's a lot of work. So no, I thought it was a bold choice, to be honest. Like
Mhm.
Star Trek from the past used to like to glue stuff on kids' forehead and then forget they existed. And I remind you, they killed the Naomi Waldman, right? In Voyager, because the one we have is the one from the alternate place, right? And nobody
don't
cried.
forget Harry, don't forget Harry Kim.
Harry
Kim.
Kim,
The
thank you very
actors,
much.
my favorite podcast, real quick, the Delta Flyers. They talked about how bad
we're
they
back to that.
your
Right,
second
we're not
favorite
your
podcast.
favorite podcast. Yeah, thank
blew
you.
shit on the baby's forehead, and they were like, "Oh, is this okay?"
Like,
Yeah.
they glue ears on like baby Spock in what movie? Which
I
movie
hope
is
that
plural?
baby's famous now.
Anyway, so I thought it was like a very bold
Five.
choice to go there.
That's
I
like
think
kids'
it was
Instagram.
again, that's the word of the day, but in very elegant way to close the plot for Mabenga. I think it's modern TV. You cannot just be like, "Oh, magical, the kid is cured," because
Mhm.
that's not what happens in life, right? And I think it's again, grief has been the theme in this first season, memory and theme and grief. And I think it was interesting because for me, this episode was a lot about faith. So
Of
when
the heart.
somebody shut up. Can she get the button? Give her the button.
Shut up!
Thank
You
you.
guys miss me.
Are you
Uh,
kidding me?
because in the end, he witnessed the ascension of his kid.
Mhm.
And by the way, Rukia in Arabic means ascension, the one who ascended. So I thought it was again very elegant.
Proper ascension,
Mhm.
you know, next to the bullshit ascension in the previous episode.
Yeah, right.
Mm.
2 episodes ago.
Yeah, she went to the
Um,
koala.
Yeah,
went to the koala.
great koala.
Yes!
So
Why is it her?
he's the only one who witnessed this, and he's the only one who remembers this. And basically, for him, she is alive and she is in the nebula, living a life and so on. But maybe she's not. And this is what faith is about. When you lose somebody, they are in a better place, but you don't know. That's only you who hold on to that certainty, to that belief that they are somewhere and they are okay and they are still remembering you, thinking of you as you remember them, but you have no proof. Zero.
Honestly,
And
like, right, like who actually knows if whatever Mbenga breathed in at the beginning of the episode
Exactly.
transferred into the whole fucking ship, and any of that actually happened?
That's exactly my idea.
great
Yeah.
I
point.
mean, if not,
Giraffe.
it's confusing what
Great
happened to his
point.
daughter.
I'm also
And-
wondering why Hammer's in his room. So
Well, okay.
I mean,
They
I
all
ship
chip
that
in.
too, man. Why not? That'd be amazing.
But yeah, there is no proof. And in the end, when you lose somebody, and you have to let go of somebody too, because sometimes you have to make that decision, like he has to do. But this is the only thing that makes you continue, right? And I think it's absolutely great that they warped it in a way that he's the only one knowing, he's the only one being sure of this, and this is what is going to be make the character able to continue and to go on the crew. Because if it was not like this, if she just had died, I think you would have to have again the grief of the character. And I think it's very interesting to put it in parallel with Spock, who lost his sister, but she's alive technically, but
Yeah.
she's not, and he has no way of knowing, but he holds in the belief that she is okay and
Yeah.
she will have a full life for him future, right? So beautiful writing. This is, I do think, the most beautiful story of loss that we can have in Star Trek so far, because we lost a lot of characters, right? Technically, we lost Michael Burnham, we lost Keller, we lost, I don't know, Tasha Yar, we lost a lot of characters that we didn't want to lose. But this is the most beautiful episode they've written for me for the whole series. There's not one faux pas, you know?
Mhm.
It's all absolutely perfect. And the end makes you so much reflect on what moves on for us. Like,
Yeah.
do we all go party in the nebula? She calls the nebula the entity Deborah, like her mother. And I thought it was absolutely gorgeous because, again, when you lose somebody for you, they go with the other people you lost, right? And they're all together and they're all happy and looking for you, looking out for you. And this idea that he will most probably try to join them at one point or another, I think is a beautiful arc for the character.
Yeah. Agreed. Yeah. Hawk,
Wow.
follow that up, man.
How do I fall? This is how great the writing is on this show. And that. Okay, now first of all, now I'm thinking Giraffe is right, and that this was all
You want? Wait, I'm going to change
this is
it. Wait.
all just a dream that he had, and that, and basically he just decided to let the daughter go.
There we go.
The fairy tale element in that. If we see Rukia as, say, the princess in this fairy tale and the whole metaphor of princesses being locked in towers or dungeons or whatever, usually but for evil reasons by some demonic father or whatever. This was about a dad who put his daughter into a prison and that just to try and hold on to her. We know Mbenga's out in space only looking for the cure in that, and I guess he finds it, but it's not the one he wanted, not the one he expected in that, but at the same time, it was more than he could offer her. God, I don't even know where I'm going with this, but
I know what you're trying to say.
I know. Yeah,
I get it. I totally get it.
Right.
Yeah.
It was the most beautifully written ending of a show of this season.
like who expected a fantasy episode to become this giant philosophical debate at the end? You're just like, oh, okay. Oh my god.
I know, and Mbenga was like I mentioned a couple times, it's like I always had a kind of an issue of Mbenga not being able to cope with the possibility of his own daughter dying, and that being a Starfleet medic, on the flagship of the Federation, and that where it's like death is something he's got to encounter on a regular basis.
Well, that makes it worse, right? Because he solves all the problems, but he can't solve the one that matters the most.
Exactly.
Aaron, anything else on this? I know you kind of started us off.
I mean, I think sort of going back to what Hawk says, but the opposite, honestly. The fact that Rukia was the princess, she was the stone or whatever, but she never was really in any danger. Like she never really had to be rescued or anything like that. She was just in his quarters where she wanted to be. She was exactly where she wanted to be, having a great time, and everything was good for her. And that's what this was all about, was finding a solution that, and I think this, maybe this is another allegory, like it's not perfect for us or the parents, but it was good for her. And so it allowed her to live her best life in a different way than we would have thought that we would have wanted. And also subverting expectations, because the last couple episodes, it's like, all right, we've got this crazy world. We've got a child hooked up to a computer and apparently it's torturous and hellacious, but everyone's great. And we have some information that might help you. And I remember thinking okay, so this is going to be part of the arc, is going to be we've got Pike's really sad because he's going to die or something. And now we've got Mbenga who's trying to find the cure. And, Spock's trying to figure out his love situation. Apparently that's his thing. Everybody's got a story, but I think it's a novel thing to resolve the story now in a different way than I would have ever have thought. I thought we were going to eventually cure it. This kid's going to be running around the ship just like you said, Naomi
carpet
Wildman.
on the floor.
Yeah, and honestly, I would have loved that.
Oh my God.
The little girl was so adorable. I loved the hell out of her. But
She was amazing.
I love this resolution, and I think it's really sweet and sad. And I think if you cry watching TV, then that's not too bad.
They've done something right.
Yeah.
I watched it 3 times and I cried 3 times.
Yeah.
I
So.
cried twice and I cried twice.
Same.
I cried more the second time.
Me too. There's something about, I don't know if this is with your kids, Julian, but when you play with your kids and they're super happy that you're playing their game, but when they get to control something that you like, and it's a different feeling. And when you see her open the door and you see her being like, I got to do this thing that I know you would like, and it's just the best. I little girl was amazing.
I'm just so happy that we have fan fiction writer representation in Star Trek now.
Yes.
because
Una.
Rukia shipping the character of the book, changing the end, putting herself in the story. I want to say
Yes.
thank
Okay.
you.
We need to get Una McCormick because she would. I bet she has something to say.
Most probably, yeah.
Yeah. I was gonna end this episode with something witty going into our crew member of the week or our review, but I lost it because we got really deep. And no, I found it. I will go with this before we go on our crew member of the week. It's MC's comment. Someone already drew Sam Kirk as the jester, and that's the only important thing that you need to know. Guys, we are so over time. We are gonna roll through our crew member of the week. I don't need an explanation. I just need your answer. Aaron, your crew member of the week.
Benga.
Hawk.
Hammer.
Eric.
Hammer.
Giraffe.
Rukia.
I was gonna say Rukia. I was gonna do Mbenga Rukia slash. So not slash fan fiction. Mbenga Rukia.
Fem slash.
That's a different episode. Julian.
Listen. Some people
And Giraffe and I
go
are
there.
gonna produce it.
Silver Medal Tavern, # Team Hammer, J Crabsap, Mbenga, MC, Hammer, Maggie, Hammer, Galaxy Star Queen, Hammer, Joaquin Slowly, Hammer, Haven, Erica, also awesome, great choice. Wayner, Mbenga, great choices all. Very quickly, our ratings back to the original order. Eric, your rating out of 10 magic potions, the magic of science.
Originally it was a 9, but it's a 10 now after I watched it with my daughter the second time.
Nice. Draft.
10. Incredible.
Hawk.
Nothing to change.
10.
Aaron.
10. It brought me so much joy.
10. This is a 10. This is
Perfect.
very much a 10. I feel like you can't give this any other rating. Joaquin Slowly, episode rating 9.5 out of 10 heartbreakingly perfect episodes. Haven gives it a 10. Maggie gives it a 10. MC gives it a 10. Riftwood says Enterprise. I don't know what that means.
Enterprise.
Enterprise.
Because, yay.
Enterprise.
10. He gives it a 10. J Craps out 10 out of 10. The magic of science. Shatterhand originally said 8, but I'm upping it to a 9.5. Galaxy Star Queen gives it a 10. With that, let's get into... Is there one more? Enterprise is a character. It's very true. Let's get into our subspace to poll and mailbag.
Shipwide, Cadet Ahura.
Aye, sir.
Draft, take it away. What did the Twitterverse have to say about the Elysian Kingdom?
We asked the Twitterverse what they thought about episode 108. And this is what they had to say, Julian. 63% said the magic of science. 33% said bravo, bravo. 3% said song of order. And 0% said locked in the dungeon.
Good job, 0%.
Good job, those 0%ers. We finally got it
Do
right.
we need to do a special Patreon that is like a one-off D&D of this episode?
My God. could
I'd
you
play.
imagine?
Oh, oof.
Oof. I mean,
I'd
I
be
know
down.
some good D&D dungeon masters. I'm just saying.
there's one sitting in this chat right now, Eric. He's like, nope, not doing it.
No, I'm not a good dungeon master.
Oh, never mind. I'm not either. Subspace, it is the subspace poll. We did the poll. It's time for the mailbag. We'll go back in the original order. Pike, Eric.
Wrote, I don't think an episode of Trek has ever made me ugly cry before now. I loved every moment, from the laughs to the moments that made me cringe hard, to that resolution that left me sobbing. Mbenga and Hammer just became my fave characters. What an episode. Also, the magic of science. I need that on a t-shirt. Damn straight.
We're working on
Yes,
it. We're working on
Eric.
it. I just want to say I didn't cringe at anything in this episode.
No, it's like secondhand embarrassment.
Really?
I know
Yeah,
people
okay.
like this.
Okay,
Yeah.
so like
Yeah.
La'an doing like song of morning.
I think
Or
that
like
was the most
Pike
cringy
being
bit.
like
Cringy fuck.
You
Yeah,
know,
yeah,
like,
fair,
yeah.
fair. All right, Draft, go ahead with Egg Hawks.
Egg Hawk. Is that your brother, Hawk?
Well, he's gonna answer the question.
Roads. So first off, just want to say I am not the
See, I told you. I told
Did
you.
you
I am-
read the outline?
I don't read the mailbag. I have to read it out loud. So first off, just want to say I am not the mirror version of Hawk.
The mirror version of Hawk would say that. I'm just saying.
Right?
Yes,
Just to throw him off the scent.
absolutely. I thought the episode was fun and loved Hammer acting as a wizard. But boy, that ending totally tugged at the heartstrings and made my eyes watery. Another excellent episode of Strange New Worlds. And agree with Piker Pike. We need that T-shirt.
Do.
Is
I'm
their
gonna
name
go.
Egg Hawk because they said excellent?
I don't know, honestly. We're gonna go a little bit out of order because Galaxy Star Queen actually messaged me on Discord and asked me to read her mailbag. So I am going.
Oh yeah,
to...
because
Good, 'cause
I
it's
was
really
threatened
long.
by reading all the mailbags.
I don't know. I got the message. I am honored, Galaxy Star Queen. Thank you. I'm going to read it. My first mailbag for the pod, episode 8, The Elysian Kingdom. I thought it was an amazing episode. It's definitely a favorite of mine, and I love how the story of the book is brought to life on the Enterprise, and that the crew are the characters from the book Dr. Ambega reads to his daughter every day. And I love how the writers made the two telepathic characters, Hammer and Spock, as the Wizard Brothers. We should make a t-shirt of that, too. The Wizard Brothers. That'd be fun. And don't mess with Queen Uhura or Queen Nev as she is in here because she will make you pay. It's true. She'll fuck you up. All of Hammer lines were amazing. My favorite was the magic of science. And, we finally get to see him use his abilities, or as I like to call it, his Enar mind magic. I like that. So much happens in this episode, I can go on for days, but overall the episode was amazing, and the cast and crew are amazing as always. P.S. Let's not forget about the costumes. They were amazing, and I loved every single one of them, but my favorite one was La'an and Uhura's dresses, and Uhura's metal fingernail things, and Hemmer's robe. One day, I will cosplay Hemmer. I love everything about them. Galaxy Star Queen 77. Hawk, take it away with Havens.
Haven wrote, "It was a kingdom far, far away, yet it was so close to home. Like, I absolutely believed every single one of the actors played their characters even better than I thought would have been possible. Would you call the Crimson officers who got shot by an arrow redshirt deaf?"
They're alive.
Good
We see them. We
question.
see them
Yeah.
on the in the med bay when everything goes back
Yeah.
to normal. They're alive.
Well, Haven would. Another home run that even Cisco would be proud of. Fun fact, as per spoiler chat, this story in episode was written by Benny Russell.
Aaron with Mel's, please.
All right. I like to see the crew acting totally different than their normal selves. A Trek classic. I think this episode could have very well have stretched between 2 episodes if we had more than 10 episodes per season to give each of the new personas more depth. The banter between Ortegas and Pike continues even when they're not their normal selves. But the most touching story was for sure Mbenga letting go of his daughter. It was clear the writers needed to find a solution to end her story arc as the actress would grow out of the role. It was done in a beautiful story suitable for a young girl. Besides this, we have Joseph Mbenga. We finally have a name. And finally more Hemmer with his antenna moving. It made me squeal when I saw that.
It was cool seeing them go like.
I'm so disappointed that his name is not Jabillo. But now I understand why they changed all the poster at Mission Chicago. Because it was written Jabillo and Benga on the poster. So here we go. Joseph.
Back to you, Eric.
Yum Yum Pod wrote, "Yet another dumb fun episode, but at least this one got weird in that classic Star Trek way. I couldn't help but think about the Royale or masks."
Mask.
Well, not good
Mask,
episodes, but you know.
Yeah,
man,
good
great.
pull.
Never gonna forget that.
Hammer returns from his trip to Ryza and becomes a major hero of this quest, only to forget the entire thing. Perfect. He didn't forget. Oh no, Hammer did. Yes,
He did, unfortunately.
Ortega's hasn't been a
Hammer
favorite.
did forget.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Only Mabenga remembers.
Yeah.
Yep.
Ortegas hasn't been a favorite, but she was great here and hit the right amount of camp for the material. For a scientist and concerned father, Mabenga didn't ask a lot of questions to the random entity at the end, which I feel he should have done because it was a quick turnaround for such an unknown thing. Overall, a mid-range episode, but there's nothing wrong with a bit of fluff.
All right.
I do wish they would have remembered. I think it would have been funnier. Because they
But
could
that
just keep
that
making fun of each
defeats
other
the
for
whole
years.
purpose of faith and belief and not
Mhm.
knowing what's after death.
Agreed.
No,
Everybody
I want them to make
remembers.
fun of each other until time ends.
Fair. Giraffe, go ahead with MCs.
MC wrote, "This episode did not disappoint for the from the tantalizing promo."
Tantalizing.
Come on, MC, with the long words.
How dare you? Did you know
It was-
Giraffe would be reading this?
Yeah, she knows. That's why she adds like longer words. It was funny and wacky and also so incredibly heartfelt and bittersweet. I laughed and cried. They struck such a perfect balance that I think this episode is easily sliding into the top 10 of the franchise.
Dang.
It's not just a great episode, it's an iconic one. It's going to be the launcher of 1,000 alternate universe fics, AU fics, and torment cosplayers from now until the end of time. I 1,000% agree.
Very true.
Oh, go ahead.
And why Raleigh wrote, "We've got to love an episode of Star Trek meets Dungeons and Dragons. This would make a great future table read. It's a
Yeah, that's in the books.
Yeah, right. It's a masterpiece when you successfully mix in all that humor and with an emotional, heartfelt ending. It's easily among my favorite SNW episodes."
Nice. Aaron.
Okay, Jessica wrote, "First off, Hammer returns. I love seeing him flex his science magic skills with tons of panache and exuberance. And moving antenna. And then waking up in the CMO's room with a hangover and no memory of the night before. Oh boy.
There's
We've been
fanfic
there.
right
We've been
there.
there. We've been
That is
there.
the fanfic. Overall, this episode was a delightful little adventure, and Mbenga mad. And, I think
Made.
it's supposed to say made an incredible king. I feel for him, losing so many of his loved ones, and feel they handle. Okay, sorry, it took me a second. I feel for him losing so many of his loved ones, and feel they handled it in a very respectful way. 11 out of 10 abracadabras. Can't wait to see the fanfic and cosplay that come out of this.
Everyone
I know my
knows.
creative juices
Yep.
are flowing.
Everyone knows.
It's true.
Okay, Jessica, can't wait for your cosplay either.
Wayner
Wait.
wrote,
Oh, yeah,
What?
sorry, that was you. My bad.
it's all right.
I got excited.
It's all right. I have mixed feelings about the episode, but I'm not a big fan of holodeck episodes, and this was similar. But in
Get
Mbenga's
out.
arc, it's all right. Hey, everybody's welcome to their opinion.
Even if
But
it's
in
wrong.
Mbenga's, even though it's wrong. And Mbenga's arc was awesome. I suspected the Nebula would have something to do with the curing of Rakia, but certainly not in the way it happened. Loved the ending and Mbenga getting to see her as a grown woman and knowing she's living an amazing life. Not my favorite episode, but I'm sure I'll watch it a few more times.
Nice. Maggie Light wrote, "I thoroughly enjoyed watching the crew play as characters from the Fairytime book Mbenga read to Rukia. The ending made me cry, but it was a good ending. I'm glad Mbenga let Rukia decide what would happen to her." Yeah.
I'm just going to read Silver Meadow Taverns real quick in my best Michael Dorn Worf voice. Someone is not a merry man. Sorry. Giraffe, go ahead with Shatterhand.
Shatterhand wrote, "Such a funny, delightful, and bittersweet episode. Babs Olusan Mokun is the clear standout, but every single member of the cast got to have fun with their Elysian characters. Hanson Mount, in particular, had me in stitches as he delivered some of the best simpering I've seen on screen in a long time. A solid 8 out of 10 from me."
And close us out, please, Hawk, with Collins.
Colin D wrote, "So much to say, so little room to say it all. This one delighted me so much, touched me so deeply that it immediately became one of my top 5 favorites in all of Star Trek history. Christina Chong bowled me over with laughter. Anson Mount's acting chops were so on full display. He was hilarious. Mbenga's story had me ugly crying by the end. So many fun hijinks, so much good story. I absolutely love this episode. 10 out of 10.
Whew. This might be our longest episode
I was
yet,
gonna
but
say,
Wow.
appropriate.
Long one.
I would
it's a
say
movie length.
appropriately so, because honestly, if we're being dead serious after talking about this episode in this much depth and length, this easily could have been like the 2-parter of the season, even though we don't get one this season. That might be a small spoiler, but I don't really
I'm glad
think
it's
it is.
not. A lot of
Um,
times that fills with watery extra.
that's how I felt about the mirror arc in season 3 of Disco. So
No, you go to hell. I love that.
Oh, well, okay. No, I'm not. Anyway, it's late. We'll talk about that another day. This has been absolutely tremendous. I want to thank Bernadette Croft for joining us earlier, talking about all the amazing costuming on Strange New Worlds. I want to thank you guys for some absolutely amazingly insightful opinions on this episode. This has been one of my favorite episodes to record. You guys all fucking rock. We are going to be back next Thursday with episode 109. Get ready. It's going to be an episode, and that's all we're going to say.
That's an episode. That's an episode.
Yes.
Yes.
Episode of television.
Yep, it is an episode of television. Oh boy. We're going to get into that next Thursday, but that's going to do it for this week. For Giraffe, for Eric, for Hawk, for Aaron, and for our guest, Bernadette Croft, I will say live long and prosper, Majram, and good night.
Thanks for beaming into our podcast today. If you want to keep the hailing frequencies open, you can subscribe on Apple and Google Podcasts, YouTube, and Spotify. Like what you hear? Put in a good word with Starfleet and leave us a 5-star review.